everybody. Welcome to Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclasts. I'm your host, Mike, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts.
Spencer Lowry.
Okay.
Not that anybody gives a fucking squirt of piss.
I'm sorry. Sorry for laughing.
Yeah, laugh at my pain. Yeah, enjoy it. Relish in it, you son of a bitch. No, not that anybody cares, but I'm Spencer Lowry. It's my fucking 40th birthday. I don't got shit on a stick to dance with. I don't know if I'm coming or going. I'm physically broken. I'm mad. I'm physically broken. I'm fucking 40 tomorrow. No one gives a shit. Nobody's gonna fuck me either. You know, no over the hill. My buddy Chris gave me a lovely care package though, so I'm feeling better now.
Yeah, I got something for you later in the week.
I am. Yeah, and I'm 40. No one gives a shit except for my buddies here.
Let Chris talk. Jesus.
Oh. Excuse me for trying to take a second out of your fucking precious podcast.
High note either. Excuse me.
Don't let me suck the mic up here. Chris, hey buddy.
Yeah, I'm Chris Wells, the guy that is trying to be more open to mental illness diagnoses.
You did good there.
Yeah, and we appreciate that. We're talking about schizophrenia today. Predominantly schizophrenia from a, let's say, quote-unquote, supernatural and or conspiratorial...
You mean
psychotronics?
Snatchable?
Like yeah.
Supernatural?
Snatch.
Snatch.
Supernatch. Snatch.
Oh, another thing that Yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously, since we're talking about schizophrenia, and I don't know all of our listeners, but I do know you're all lovely people, and you're smart and sexy. I just want to do a warning up top. We're obviously not doctors, nor in any way well-versed in psychiatric or neurological medicine. The vast majority of what we'll be discussing today exists purely within the realms of the theoretical. Some would even outright delves into realms beyond the reaches of reason and logic. Mm-hmm. Though there will be some science to back up certain statements where available. It goes without saying we will largely be handling topics existing within what can safely be called the fringe. As always, if you are currently dealing with mental health and or substance abuse issues, please dial 988 or seek assistance from a psychiatric or medical professional. Taking anything we say too seriously will likely result in either exacerbating a pre-existing condition or, at the very least, your friends and loved ones unanimously deciding you become a bit of an asshole. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And as always, every week, we're going to do What's Weird this week.
Well, we know where that starts.
I'm gonna follow my going pattern here.
Sorry, I was looking at the sex doll on the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
wouldn't throw her out of bed for lube.
What's the story here?
Okay, so
I see a weird, creepy sex doll, and then this weird, creepy guy. He's definitely real.
And he's definitely used a sex doll. Yeah.
Big, glossy forehead on that guy.
5-head.
May 30th, a funeral home worker used a body bag. Okay, first, let me give you a little backstory. A man died next to his real doll or real doll-esque sex doll. These are the, if you're not familiar, which I'm sure you are, they're hyper-realistic, human body weight. If you have the extra Skrilla, you can pay to have actual pubic hairs installed into it. It's a sex doll. Some of the options include self-heating, vibrating mouth, and other orifices.
Are you a sales rep for this sex doll, Spencer?
I know a few things. I think I could, and that would be a field I'd be interested in pursuing.
Reach out to us.
Yeah, I'll put that on the back burner.
Kooksandcranks@gmail.com.
And so they're hyper realistic. They're human body weight. They come shipping to your house in like a refrigerator box. It looks like a coffin.
Pretty fucking hot.
That's
crazy.
Yeah.
To say.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be like the wave of the future for people who can't handle human-on-human relationships. Anyways, dead guy dies next to his sex doll. There's no telling. I don't know if there was a
knife wounds or anything in it.
Yeah. But he died next to his sex doll. Maybe he died with a smile on his face. That's what I like.
Wait, that guy?
No, this is the guy who stole the body
I was about
bag,
to say, why are they showing a mugshot of
that dude looks
guy?
like a sex doll thief.
He does look like a sex doll thief.
Yeah,
but he also looks like somebody that would die next to a sex doll.
True.
a lot of overlap with that Venn diagram, I'm sure.
So anyways, he worked for a funeral home. He's like, hey, there's a sex doll in here. Him and his buddy went and used the body bag to cart out the probably 110-pound sex doll, and they were gonna. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, but they wanted it. I mean, maybe they're gonna resell it.
Well, they both have plans for this.
There was two guys.
There was two guys. Yeah. They used a body.
Cuffs.
They had access to body bags because they were the ones who pulled the dead prick out of his bed. And,
I think it's out of the doll.
And so they got caught hauling the body bag full with the sex doll, and they're going to jail. Anyways, because it's grand fucking theft. I mean, these things can cost upwards of $20,000.
It costs more than my fucking car. I know that.
Yeah,
Whoa.
I mean they're fully loaded, man.
Yeah.
And but what I want to think of, would you want? Is there a big interest in a market for second-hand sex dolls? Would you think?
Heavily.
But you can't autoclave silicone because it'll melt. I've seen. Don't ask me how, but I've seen dildos in dishwashers that just melt and turn into string cheese.
Don't ask you how. Yeah. I don't think we need to ask you how. You just told us you had a dildo in your dishwasher.
It wasn't my dishwasher, but it may have been. Never mind. Anywho. So, anyways, that's my what's weird this week. Just a quick one.
The only thing that would get to me about owning one of those is the constant
second-hand or first-hand.
Preferably first-hand, but the constant intrusive thoughts of like Chucky dolls and like possessed dolls and shit.
That wouldn't even cross my mind.
You just put it in the closet and only deal with it when you fuck it? I don't know. I'm sure.
No,
they need to hook an AI chat bot to one of these fucking things, and then you're done. That's it.
Thank
Where
you.
do I sign up?
You're quite good at turning me on.
The post-nut clarity has got to be completely demeaning. And
then when you got to take out the inserts and debacterial, put them in that blue hair shit that they have at the barber shop. The barbicide.
Barbicide, yeah. Fucking Misty's got gallons of that stuff.
Yeah,
that's not. You can't do it because it's.
I'd do it. I wouldn't invest in it.
Exactly. If you're investing that much into a non-sex life with an inanimate, then you might be on this list of people that we're going to be talking about.
Granted, there's a difference between a certain person with a certain neurotypical profile where it's easier for them to have a relationship. Some people actually have relationships. Some people have tried to marry their real dolls.
Yeah.
And
some people fall in love with Alexa.
Different fucking strokes.
Fucking computer nerds.
But
mostly.
and I don't judge. I mean, if it makes you happy, whatever floats your goat. And
I will judge.
Yeah, you will. I'm not judging on that, but
I don't know. Thinking of it from like a weird kind of occult sex magic thing, like if you were like pumping all this life force.
Dude, that'd be a powerful sigil.
No, I think it's the opposite of a powerful sigil. I think that's a pretty weak sigil. I think because, that's not I don't know, that's nothing.
I don't know, you make a little circle of salt, light some candles,
the time and effort and mental energy.
Yeah, I mean, chaos magic says you can make magic out of whatever you want.
What was the thing that Chucky would say over the body that he was trying to
Baruma or something?
Yeah, now if you did all that right before you fucked it, okay. Give me the power.
You could even you could get a hot brand out of a coat hanger and brand sigils of whatever you want under a forehead.
Give me the power, I beg of you.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I need a soul. I need a soul, stumbling through that toy store. I mean, it's such hack.
Wasn't it just all Chucky's in the store?
Well, he
I thought it was
finally
in the
found one.
factory
He
or
was
whatever.
like a bank robber who got shot.
Yeah.
And he's dying. And he's like, stumbling through a toy store. I need a soul. Wait, this toy will do. You know, it's so fucking
don't know,
But he
man,
was a serial killer. Actually, he was just an all-around criminal, but he was a serial killer.
Yeah.
That's true.
Charles Lee Ray.
I don't
Yeah.
know, if you conjured up a demon and
it's
like
good
stuck
for
it
a
in one of
laugh.
those things,
It's a great show.
if it couldn't like move because it's a doll, then like I don't know, maybe
It's fucking creepy, man. Like you could just, if with that money, you could go have sex with a real woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can get like 300 low-class hookers all at once. If you had the infrastructure.
I don't know if
for
y'all
the
seen-
same money that you spend on that.
Have y'all seen the videos of Harry Hines since they basically decriminalized hooking over there?
No.
The cops said that they're not enforcing prostitution busts for
Yeah.
a while. They're doing it now because it got out of hand.
Okay.
It was like Amsterdam on The
Yeah,
Wire,
on The
you
Wire.
know, but like for sex workers,
Ooh.
and so like
been a while since I've been
there's
down
video.
that way.
Like I mean, I've cruised down there back in the day with
Yeah.
our long lost buddy.
Yeah.
You let her suck you. No, you do it, man.
No, I mean, we were just cruising around. It was fun. We had not. He was intending
just
to-
window shopping.
Yeah, we were window shopping for fun. You know, anyway. But there was some then. But now,
World's oldest profession.
like they are just out there. They are out there, like just swarming the streets.
Wow.
Tons of them. Ass cheeks.
Wish I
tits
could have seen
out.
that.
They're still there. You go drive around.
You know why it's the
field
world's
trip,
oldest profession?
field segment
Yeah.
in the future.
Go interview him.
Just
yeah.
some interviews, hey.
Because a lot of them are probably, or some of them are probably mentally ill.
And they probably also met somebody that is going to be a serial killer, or at least a one-time killer.
Or maybe already is.
or a
maybe.
spree killer. Yeah.
You know?
You know why it's the world's oldest profession? Because it's answering the world's oldest need.
When
It's
they
as old as pussy.
okay, when they taught monkeys, there was that scientific experiment.
Where they
that
taught them the value
they
of
taught the
poker
monkeys
chips.
the value of money. The first thing the monkeys did was pay the female monkeys for sex.
Yep, because they taught them the value using poker chips because the poker chips could be put inside of like a vending machine
And
that
they would
food
get
would
food.
come out of.
So it's like they
yeah.
they created currency for the monkeys, and the monkeys bought sex.
Monkey fucking.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, I'm all for it. If they legalized it
yeah.
and regulated
Yeah,
it, these
exactly.
people could
Get
one
healthcare,
get out of
taken care
coercion.
Yeah.
Get out of
Exploitation.
systems of coercion. They could work for themselves and they can get health care. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And,
help take a lot of the stigma off too, and you don't have religious nuts murdering
and just
them,
take some
thinking they're
fucking
cleaning the
pressure off
streets
of
or-
me, for God's sakes.
They actually just
Something's
kind
gotta
of-
give.
I don't know if they decriminalized. I don't know what
They
the
didn't-
right word
they
is.
didn't decriminalize.
Well, no, in
Oh, wait.
Garland,
Oh.
They did like a soft decriminalization.
in Garland. Are you sure about that? In Garland, rub and tugs have started proliferating because the police just said like, whatever happens after a massage.
Well, that's it.
Two adults working it
I
out.
think that's along with the Dallas County line because Garland's
Okay.
Dallas County.
Yeah.
Dallas County's we're just like, look, we're not real unless we have super evidence of organized crime and human trafficking. We are not enforcing sex because they go. It's a misdemeanor. It's literally just a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
So they do all this bust, put all these fucking cops on and off the street of real crimes,
Yeah.
people getting hurt, to like go bust
Crack and murder.
a bunch of a bunch of these guys right here. This big four-headed motherfucker that
He just needs love.
rolling down the street.
We all do.
Soliciting and women soliciting, and like it. All it does is fuck up their day. And put them in the system,
Yeah.
and it makes the cops waste a whole lot of fucking time and a whole lot of
Paperwork.
money because those people ain't coming back
gonna
to
have
court.
paperwork all
All they're
day.
gonna do is go into Dallas County, get a 3-for-1 on fucking a 30-day sentence, do 2 weeks, and get the fuck out.
Does that come with a biscuit?
You do get biscuits. They're square biscuits. They're not very good.
Just like Wendy's.
Yeah. No. Well. No. Wendy's biscuits are okay.
Oh, I meant their patties, but yeah.
Oh no, they have their breakfast sandwiches.
Oh yeah, I just heard they just started doing breakfast.
It's
Or-
alright. It's not as
yeah.
good as I thought it'd be.
I just read a little blurb about in Amsterdam where hooking's legal and regulated, and it's
Been that way for a long.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they're building a new. It's going to be the very world's first
They still
in
have
modern history skyscraper hotel like resort. It's a hotel resort.
Fuck resort.
It's a fuck resort where you can.
They
It's
still
like
have huge
they
human
have this.
trafficking problems over there still, though.
Sure, they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this place, it's all above board. It's all official. Organized, and they have. It's like a Spectrovision. Where you can pick a porno, but this time you can pick a woman from the TV in your goddamn room, and she's gonna be clean. It's all gonna be safe sex. I'm all for it.
So she could take a shit on the glass coffee table, no questions asked.
Yeah, as long as there's a dental dam in between you and the,
Speaking of shitting on coffee tables, weren't you going to talk about that guy we were talking about?
Oh.
Yeah, we were saying a lot about that earlier.
Was that your
before.
story? I forgot.
No.
Never mind. We're talking about Robert De Niro. That's why his mole moves around on his face.
All right, so this,
It's
it's weird. It's really just annoying because it's, disclaimer, I don't give a fuck about Trump. I don't give a fuck about Biden. I hate them all. But it's also on the topic of, you're never supposed to meet your heroes. I wouldn't call Robert De Niro a hero, but he's one of my favorite fucking actors, right?
Yeah.
Raging Bull.
I'm
fucking
literally
man.
sitting behind or in front of a fucking poster of him as Taxi Driver, and you know what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna put a Trump 2024 fucking sticker on him just for that. Because
Make it look like he's wearing the button on his jacket.
headline, NewYorkPost.com. This was earlier this week, updated May 28th, 2024. Robert De Niro headlines bizarre Biden campaign presser outside Trump trial. You're a fucking idiot. So he goes out there. That was his quote. Sorry.
That was De Niro's quote?
That was De Niro's.
Okay.
He had a bunch of fucking quotes.
You're a fucking idiot.
Like, for some reason, outside of Trump's trial, the Biden campaign, which De Niro apparently has also been voicing a lot of Biden campaign ads. Again, you're a fucking old actor. I don't give a shit who the fuck you vote for or what you think.
Out of touch, bro.
Oh, he plays handball in the New York courts. Yeah,
if you make more than $65,000 a year, I don't give a fuck what you think. You fucking piece of shit. Like, just do acting, make movies, entertain the masses, get rich off it. Go fucking.
You and Brad Pitt go blow each other.
Yeah,
in the
you get
corner.
paid a shitload of money to pretend time.
So De Niro is part of this press thing that the Biden campaign does, and they set up outside of the courthouse where Trump's trial was going on, and he was guilty and all that whatnot. Who cares? But
Don't mean shit.
It doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, he's not going
and
to
that's
jail.
it. But De Niro, there was obviously counter protesters outside of this thing. Well, I mean, there were Trump supporters outside of his trial, but it's like it's a
Burning
fucking
copies of Casino.
You know what? Nobody cares what any of you fucking think. It's still gonna happen. Everything's still gonna fucking happen. Nobody gives a fucking shit. And especially when you go off on a tantrum like a little fucking 75-year-old, or I think how old he is.
You can
70
hear the memes getting typed up.
Oh, yeah. 75-year-old baby yelling at Trump people with MAGA hats. Like Mike over here. Mike's wearing his MAGA hat today, just so you know.
Yeah.
But
Loud and proud.
That's the female of Magus.
yeah, but this, it was just ridiculous.
It's totally different.
And it really made me fucking like, damn, man, I liked Robert De Niro. I don't care about his I don't want to know about your politics, bro.
Separate the art from the
While
artist.
while I may not agree with what you're saying, I will defend to the death your right to say it. But at the same time, there are consequences for the things you say.
Yeah.
And B, because he's a fucking celebrity, he gets more focus on because of who he is.
Yeah, which he has no knowledge of. Like, you live in a fucking ivory tower. You can't talk about politics of the world. That's my whole thing with politicians entirely, is none of them are worth even that fucking, the bartender from New York that became a congresswoman. She's worth like $27 million now because she's a congresswoman. Mm-hmm. Like, she was a bartender in New York.
That shows us the inherent problem.
Exactly.
As to what the fuck is going on in our country right there.
But
she's pretty and I'm on her side.
She got an alright rack. I'd still cuss her out in public.
I like her ideas.
But
both of them.
She's got a couple.
But
you beat me to it.
But if you watch this video of him, he's just fucking belligerent, yelling at it. It's like, if you're trying to be above the Trump supporters, yelling back at them, and just like they are, like, it really makes you respectable. And I don't know. And
it's
then
like trying
also,
to piss on a pile of burning
on
white
top of
phosphorus.
that, because De Niro did that on the right-wing Twitter, they started digging up all the old dirt on him and reminded us that he was the one that helped Roman Polanski escape fucking America. Yeah. After fucking a 13-year-old girl, which De Niro knew about as far as the evidence shows. So,
This is the problem with being a public figure.
I got nipples,
especially-
Greg. Can you milk me?
I got herpes. Can you milk me? Yeah, apparently, I mean, I don't know. Just being a public figure, like in Hollywood already, you should prepare for that kind of thing. But politics, fucking especially, because that's where it becomes standard fucking strategic fucking rule to just out other people's shit.
Yep.
So yeah, man. Speaking of which, fucking, I wanted to make a comment just real quick on
Your MAGA hat?
No. The rhetoric that Trump is spouting about, like, I don't think the country will stand for it or take it if I go to jail. He's doing the same kind of fucking talking that happened before fucking January 6th, and
Yeah.
I don't like it. And if he becomes
fucking
president
dangerous.
again, I think what he's trying to say and do might set a bad precedent.
That is actually America's right, though. That we
And
were
it'll be the first
we
felon
were
president.
founded on a violent revolution of people fucking saying, "Well, we don't like what you're doing." So, and the January 6th wasn't shit.
No,
Like, they were let into the goddamn building.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm more worried about if he becomes president again, and he already
How fucking
Yeah.
funny it's gonna be.
Well, yeah, but I'm just
SNL's
worried
gonna
that
have a
he
bumper
may
crop.
Introduce legislation of some sort or something like that along those lines that could change our fucking justice system.
Well,
irrevocably.
I don't think so at all, because and that's the same thing. Robert De Niro's quotes here, where he's trying to destroy the world.
Well, that's a bit hyperbolic.
Exactly. what the president, as we know, the presidents can't do shit. They really can't, other than appoint. He can appoint some more justices that lean toward the fucking anti-abortion or something like that.
Yeah.
But presidents really can't do a lot of shit. It's their fucking administration and the people they work
Well,
for.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, trickle down from his word, maybe. And plus, just, we know that the Senate and Congress, there's a bad history of, like, always shoehorning some sneaky shit into a bill, like, we want to make the internet free for everyone. It's like, yeah, fucking awesome. And then there's a rider on the bill that's
But
like,
everyone's on. That's the thing.
Trump's king until he
The
dies.
country-
it's like they did with pornography here in Texas, and we never heard anything about it.
I heard about
Oh,
that
X
for a
Hamster
while.
is back up, by the way.
Oh,
okay.
no shit.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no Pornhub. But
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the
I
alternative.
prefer X Hamster anyways.
All the alternatives are like, as soon as front page opens, there's just gaping butthole, and I don't want to see that. It's not classy.
A lot of problems with
A lot of
P-Hub.
problems.
It's a talent.
Anyway, I get that. But I really don't. None of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, once again, it's just,
It's the same.
you have to pick the lesser evil.
No, you
unfortunately.
don't. They're all evil. It's just evil. There's no lesser evil.
Well, I'm saying that the system is set up to where
Yeah.
that's the only option you have.
and I refuse to choose that.
Yeah, I don't vote.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think most people who do are a little fruity.
Yeah.
But that's just
You know what's a little fruity? The fact that I would like Joe Biden and Donald Trump to be forced to eat a bunch of Viagra and fuck each other to fucking death.
that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Man, you could pay-per-view that.
Probably wouldn't
That
last
would
very
probably
long,
fit.
considering
You
how
pay-per-view
fucking old
that
they are.
across the entire
Hey,
world.
Trump's a big boy. He would pin down Joe Biden and rape him with his tiny penis so hard. I
my money would
fucked
be
Joe
on
Biden so hard,
My penis is huge.
I almost made it to the sphincter.
He probably would die of a heart attack in the process.
I'm for Biden in a fuck fight.
I don't know.
My
That's a
money's
hard
on
one to
Biden.
call.
No, because he's too romantic. He wants to sniff him a little while first. You ain't
But,
seen you ain't seen all the Joe
Yeah,
Biden sniff?
yeah, in the shoulder.
Let's
rubbing.
not forget that Donald Trump raped his ex-wife.
I think Biden's more into
they all
foreplay.
raped.
I think Biden's
oh, yeah.
more into foreplay than Trump would be.
Seems like a romantic, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
he grabs him right by
Yeah.
the pussy and fucking Joe's
Biden
like,
likes to massage.
yeah, exactly.
And Trump's is like,
I'm done. Get away from me.
Anyway, fuck
here comes
politics.
the goat.
Yeah.
And fuck these goddamn celebrities with their fucking opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody gets a right to one, but just so you know, I don't give a shit about it, you fuck.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's...
And you know the funniest thing? He called the Trump fans, gangsters. He's like, y'all are all gangsters. I'm like, you've played only 90% of your career
Yeah.
is playing a gangster.
You bought a house based on gangster shit.
No, he bought
basically.
8 fucking houses
Yeah.
being based on a fucking gangster.
I was going for the low ball. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
you're
no,
probably
he's
right.
he's got 8 houses at least. Everyone's at least $1.5 million minimum.
If
man.
that was all orchestrated with the Biden campaign, they should have picked a
And
better
then talking
fucking-
about milking a cat bought him his fucking an $8 million house. Okay,
Speaking of politics,
motherfucker.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. says a worm ate part of his brain and then died. He's been having memory loss and mental fogginess, and so contacted a neurologist who spotted a dark spot on his brain scans. They said he had a tumor, but another doctor, second opinion, believed he had a dead parasite in his head.
Everybody.
The New York Times reports. So this just shows to go you that, not that a third-party candidate would ever be fucking elected in this country, but the options are just awful. I don't know. It keeps making me think of that guy who's running under the name literally anybody else here in Texas. Fucking, he might get some write-ins.
Where is that Vermin Supreme? Where is he at? Is he dead?
Yeah, well, he's just too old.
Yeah.
Too old? What?
Local elections are what matter. I do believe that the United States should just fall apart and we should just have states.
I highly recommend that if you're into that whole voting thing, keep an eye on your school districts, because that's fucking important. You definitely want to keep an eye on that.
Goddamn right.
City council, all that shit is the that's where it
especially
actually matters.
School districts.
Like me and Misty discussed it the other day, and contrary to popular belief, felons can fucking vote. We looked into it. I actually can just fucking vote.
Huh.
Yeah. Everybody says, oh, felons can't vote, because she was kind of on a tirade about it, and I'm like, actually, let me look. Oh, wait, I can vote. She was like, oh, that's fucked up. You can't vote. And I'm like, no, actually, I can vote. It's only while you're on your sentence or parole that you can't fucking vote.
Okay.
Like, you can't vote in prison. While you're in prison, you can't vote. But at that point, you're not a member of society, so you shouldn't be able to fucking vote.
Yeah.
Like, that makes sense. You're not a tax-paying fucking citizen. You are actually sucking the taxes from the citizen. Okay, go ahead. As a felon, I'm saying this. Okay.
Well, I just think, depending on, like, there is legislation coming down from up high that affects prison.
Yeah, but at that point, you're a burden upon society.
Point too, yeah.
I was a burden upon society, sucking tax money away and making profits.
I paid
for
your
prison.
stay at Con College.
Yeah.
With my taxes.
Yeah.
I think I loaned you money to kickstart your whole career.
I borrowed a lot of money
Next
back.
on Behind the Music.
I borrowed a lot of money back in the day. Hey, but I always paid it back.
No, you've paid me back.
Yeah, you did.
Several times over by now. So yeah, I don't even care about that fucking Robert F. Kennedy story.
The brainworm thing was funny.
Yeah. He's obviously a kook. He's fucking. And I don't know. You know what? Kook is too friendly and nice. He's got some kind of sense of derangement.
He's a fucking Kennedy.
Yeah.
Which you're also a Kennedy.
Yeah, but not those ones.
Not those ones.
I'd have capitalized on
Chowder.
it a long time ago if I fucking could have.
I mean,
Quimby.
His uncle,
Chowder,
his dad, his uncle, everybody getting shot.
His other uncle
murdered
Dude,
somebody
talk about
with
a
a car.
snake bit fucking family, dude. All those motherfuckers.
It's the Kennedy curse, but you know what? They got some fucking in.
Oh yeah,
Maryland.
Maryland.
Oh,
at the top there, but there was a lot of other fucking.
Die and come back as Marilyn Monroe's bicycle seat.
Once again, Venn diagram, fucking and murder. That's where that falls in.
Well, we're gonna get there.
Yeah, we all will eventually. This whole country is gonna murder fuck itself to death, and that's what's weird this week. So, like we said, today we're talking about schizophrenia, but from a more weird outside standpoint, although also, as mentioned earlier, there will be some medical and scientific data to back up some of the
Dr.
stuff
Spencer has a few things to say about that.
some of the stuff we're going to talk about. So, just to say before we jump into this, most of us here, some are in denial maybe. No, Spencer and I both have dealt with psychiatric medicine and things like that.
I personally am the portrait of perfect mental health.
Right.
Yeah. Famous last words.
I'm not touching that one. All right. So, depression. I know I deal with it. I take medication for it. I know that, yes, you can exercise, etc., but sometimes it's a chemical or hereditary thing. Yes?
Just point of information as I push my nerd glasses up. The whole chemical imbalance thing is a
bit of a misnomer.
It's a bit of a misnomer because there's no test that can prove that you have a chemical imbalance, And from what I read, from her book and stuff that I read while down this rabbit hole, that it was just basically a ploy by pharmaceutical reps. Be like, hey, you got a chemical imbalance. Take these pills.
Yeah, see, and I kind of...
Which, I mean, I think there is some chemical difference, but that's not the whole picture.
I think you have a deficiency of certain neurochemicals, yes, that maybe contribute to depression, but I personally also think that the underlying causes of things like depression and addiction are, specifically with depression, or these are symptoms and underlying causes, like fatigue is a symptom, agitation when you're easily pissed off at fucking nothing, disenchantment and unfulfillment with life is really what it is. You don't have an outlet, I think, and I think if more people, had a
nature, nurture.
Well, yeah, that too. Like my mom has depression, so fucking, and it kind of runs in the family, from what I understand. But things like addiction too. Addiction has a genetic component, so they say. So I mean, I'm skeptical of any expert opinion telling me anything. But that's a problem with science, especially, like I was saying earlier, like, science and math, you can't, I mean, unless you're a fucking whiz kid at these things, or you have a lab in your garage.
Maybe we should just start taking brains apart and figure it out.
That's what I was going to say. Fucking, like, unless you have slices of brains and
and drop a little bit of Xanax on it and see what it actually does mechanically. Like
fizzles up like Alka-Seltzer.
It's like a whole lawnmower that doesn't work. You just take it apart until you find what's wrong,
Check out the spark plug, put it in your mouth like Beldar.
Yeah, I mean, are you getting spark? Are you getting air? Are you getting fuel?
It ain't got no gas in it.
It ain't got, and sometimes it just ain't got no gas in it.
Well, see, the whole thing with psychiatrists offering doing medication on patients.
Yeah.
There's no set like, oh, if you do this, there's no test that you can give blood and they'll be like, okay, you need Seroquel. Yeah. You need
short of taking spinal fluid samples and nobody.
And even that, I mean, that's not end all be all.
No, yeah.
So what they do, it's like throwing darts at a dartboard and seeing what sticks. It's like, we'll try this, and if you don't kill yourself, we'll keep taking it for 6 weeks.
Yeah, like,
and then after 3 months, if it's still working, now we'll jack up the dosage.
I know that when I don't take my depression medication, fucking, it's hard to just get out of bed because I'm just like, fuck, I'll just sleep all day. Cause, like,
that's the thing. Same here with me.
All the time, and you just don't
I feel
give a
fucked
shit.
up if I miss a day.
Yeah, so like things like addiction, especially like I said, there's genetic factors, but there's underlying reasons why people do drugs. So it's finding these reasons and...
Well, drugs are pretty tight.
Well, yeah, they are badass.
drugs are illegal. You shouldn't.
Unless you get them from the fucking doctor.
Send them to jail.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and the doctor will just give you all this shit.
This
fucking
is another
pushers.
thing. We're not all Scientologists like Chris, a.k.a. anti-psychiatry, but it should
I'm
be
not
nothing.
anti-psychiatry.
I know, I'm joking.
I am against the fucking overprescription and all these fucking assholes that self-diagnose.
Yeah.
I'm ADD, but I need Adderall to survive. It's like,
no, it's my autism.
No, you work in a fucking office. Office jobs suck.
Yeah.
Humans were not meant to do that.
Yeah.
And so, your job sucks and it's hard to concentrate.
Adderall has been a performance... all amphetamine is a performance-enhancing drug since the fucking...
And that's
going back all the way to the Nazis and the Imperial Japanese.
That's the deal with people that wring out all their their natural occurring dopamine and serotonin and other happiness chemicals, oxytocin, etc., from living in a cold life under fluorescent lights, getting a constant dopamine fix from their fucking Facebook.
Yeah, it sucks. And that's what I'm saying about, like, disenchantment.
So, of course, they're going to need chemical help.
Unfulfilled in life. Yeah, you don't have an outlet. And,
not to say that's every case.
No, yeah.
By all means. I
think it's a lot of them, but...
so, real quick... That is just the thing that makes me real, like with all the mental diagnoses, it makes me super skeptical of anybody because of all these assholes and doctors, these people that self-diagnose, and these people that go to doctors that just give, like, because somebody just goes in and they just read off, like, I can't pay attention at work, and they're like, oh, well, you must be, and then it's like, well,
There's websites that tell you what to say to a doctor.
I also have anxiety. It's like, well, you have anxiety because you're on amphetamines, so let me give you Xanax.
I hear
someone I live with is in that same boat.
I hear voices from amphetamines and fucking popping Xanax every
Like
day.
since starting
My
this
ex
podcast,
takes a speedball every day. She takes
Yeah.
the
Jesus.
strongest amphetamine you can get legally,
Miss
and then she
Belushi.
has to take a Xanax to take the edge off.
Jesus.
You know,
See,
like
yeah,
every
and
day.
medicating from the medication. It's just a fucking vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Like, since starting this podcast, I've fucking halved down my dosage on antidepressants because I feel more fulfilled in life. Fucking, like, I have an outlet and
Good.
fucking, like, we can talk about shit and get it out in the open as opposed to me having to sit with all these fucking thoughts all the time. But, yes, Big Pharma does exist. There is an agenda.
Yeah.
All you have to do is look at the fucking Sackler family and the fucking opioid
Sweet,
epidemic in the last
sweet
couple years.
Oxycontin.
Yeah, it is pretty badass.
Those were the days.
But
don't do it.
Don't. Yeah, Big
No.
Trent wants. I don't fucking. Use your adult 18 and up discernment and judgment.
And bump it little bit by little bit. Don't
Yeah.
overdo it.
But you
don't
can't.
take more than you can handle.
You know what?
Always know your
You
dealing.
can't get
We're cutting that part out.
real. I'm just gonna say you can't get real OxyContin. So if you're getting, if you try to buy some OxyContin on the street, it's
fentanyl.
It's fentanyl, which
And
is
now
not,
the
and I just
hydrazine.
found
And I will tell you, the high ain't as good.
Yeah, I just
It's
found
not.
out that the vast majority of fentanyl
Feels
comes
bad.
from
Like-
China.
Well, yeah.
I didn't know that. I just found that
A
out
lot of it's
recently.
made
Are
south
you
of the border
seriously
too.
didn't know that?
A lot of it's made south of the
From
border
Chinese
too.
precursors in Chinese
Oh
labs.
yeah, because
Like,
the Chinese they'll send out the precursors if
Well,
you
you
pay
know
the money.
where they learned that tactic. The British
Yeah.
opium wars.
yeah, that was that. I did find that interesting in
Yeah.
that thing we were listening to earlier.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
But yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, it just goes down to Mexico. They make it in Mexico. They brought the Chinese lab technicians to teach the cartels how to make fentanyl.
in 55-gallon drums in the middle of a forest.
And while we're talking about the hazards and pitfalls of psychiatry and psychiatric medicine, I will also say that it is often weaponized by the state. And you have to look no further than Soviet Russia, where psychiatrists analyzes. No, wait, that's not. Okay.
Wait, when are we gonna?
Where you analyze psychiatrists?
You got to insert the Frasier theme song at some point in this.
On scrambled eggs.
Yeah.
I'm-
Chicken baby.
I'm listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Soviet government weaponized psychiatry to a huge extent. Not to say that it didn't happen in the U.S. as well. Especially during the 60s rise of the counterculture, especially in the Black Power movement. A lot of these people were jailed for being nonconformists, for being so angry, whereas the medical establishment that was largely, well-to-do white men at the time couldn't understand why most of these black fellows would be so fucking angry at the time. But I also find it strange that persecutory delusions, that whole concept has its foundations in the slave trade era of America. And that was a precursor diagnosis.
And the idea of slave trade before American slavery, yeah.
Like,
the idea of slavery, yeah.
Yeah, so fucking the idea of persecutory delusions, like persecution exists, obviously, fucking, but you have to be
Like the Christians now.
yeah, they have a real martyr complex.
Yeah, well, that,
War on Christmas.
Fucking Jesus and whatnot.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be on the cross, but nobody wants to actually get the fucking nails
Nobody
in.
want to be on the cross.
Yeah.
So yes, these things do happen, and once again, so a combination of weaponized psychiatry and a big pharma agenda. I do think a lot of these things play a large hand in the culture war, or whatever you want to call it. Fucking, there's a battle for the mind waging at all times. And it's not just propaganda. It's not just
Dude,
politics. It's
Did you come up with that?
What?
The battle of the mind is whatever?
Waging all the time?
Yeah.
No,
I like that.
Thank you.
did you?
Yeah. That was just bebopping and scatting on the top of my head.
Bebopping and scatting all over
But
me.
it's true. I mean, it's constantly being waged. Like,
No, that is very true.
Yeah,
And you put it in a very succinct
But
way.
that doesn't, and this is a problem that I find with most, well, not just conspiracy theorists, but I find it strange that our current, proliferation of conspiracy culture does kind of mirror a mass schizophrenia, keeping in mind that schizophrenia is a blanket diagnosis that science still knows little about. But
or next to nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. But at the same time, also, or I guess in hand with that idea, outside of the vast blanket, quote unquote, schizophrenia of conspiracy culture, there also seems to be a problem with a lot of people of a certain mindset constantly throwing out the baby with the bathwater. So I say that to once again hearken to what was said at the beginning of this, is that don't think that because we're putting these ideas out there that you shouldn't seek medical help if you're in a fucking problem. Like, it's always good to get a better
It's doing research, you know, you gotta do your own research.
Get a well-informed opinion, and the proliferation of expertise of everyday people in the world. Like, I'm not gonna.
They're all over YouTube and Instagram. I'm an expert.
Just because you went and fucking read a couple books about how to build a house, you're not building my fucking house.
And you ain't Bob Vila.
Yeah. So I hope that metaphor.
But I watched every episode of This Old House.
And
yeah,
time.
New Yankee Workshop. That was my shit. That was my jam.
That was a good one.
So the
3/4 inch.
No grout today, Bob. Today we're getting a divorce. So the definition, for lack of a better term, of schizophrenia that we're kind of working with today comes from Dr. Kurt Schneider, born 1887, died 1967. So these ideas aren't that old, but
German Jew.
Really.
Well, Schneider is generally a German Jew name.
Quite the paradox.
Actually, there are a lot. There's a lot of
the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, which is like this is basically the dictionary, the encyclopedia for the psychiatric world to list diseases and delusional disorders.
Oh, the
etc.
DSM.
Yeah, the DSM.
We're on the 5 now. DSM 5, right?
Yep. The 6th is supposed to come out sometime this year.
And then we'll have XP.
Between now, sometime now and 2028. And I really look forward to what's in that book. I'm going to peruse the fuck out of that.
That's going to be wild, yeah.
Yeah, for the reasons that you're sighing, I really want to get a look at that book. But
we call this millennialism.
I've heard people make the comparison between the DSM and the Malleus Maleficarum, the witch hunting book, because of certain hysterias, symptoms of, witchcraftery and shit
or
like
lycanthropy.
That, yeah. So it's not a huge stretch to say that a lot of these early occult books before the concept of psychiatry came out, or works on shamanism, whatever you would call it, early pharmacology. A lot of these we're talking about the same thing. They just didn't have the modern scientific
people been nutty
language.
for fucking ever.
Oh yeah.
And
it's
they weren't getting all these stupid fucking diagnoses. They just either functioned or they didn't, or they were stoned to death.
Or they went out into the town square high on mushrooms and fucking rolled around like an animal and had just fucking worked it out. And then for a few days,
developed a cult.
Maybe to a couple months, they felt fine. They
had a little
exorcised
afterglow,
the demon, quote
Yeah,
unquote.
and then they created Christianity.
Well, let's talk about pharmacology.
I don't know. I think all the religions are just some fucking nutbag.
Yeah, I mean,
Either a nutbag or a real good grifter.
I'm trying to get a little. I mean,
you're either a nutbag or a grifter. That's it.
Anyone who says
that's it. Final. That's it.
No!
Final thought.
Anyone who says that they have the answer is a nutbag or a grifter trying to get you to join their cult or sell you something.
Exactly.
I'm trying to get better about religious ritual and practice, though, because as I've said a million times, it's whatever gets you through the day. Like, if making the sign of the cross when you feel like a fucking panic attack coming on helps you with a panic attack, fuck it, that's a form of medicine as far as
and it's a form of magic as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, and there's a lot of overlap.
Yeah, but when you start chasing other people around with an actual cross, that's a different story.
Yeah, well,
What you were saying...
That's a sickness in itself.
A second ago about ancient pharmacology.
Mm-hmm.
two perfect examples of that is ayahuasca for one.
Yeah,
which is a tryptamine
Mushrooms.
mixed with a monoamine oxidase inhibitor.
MAOs, eyes,
Which are still used today in some psychiatric medicines.
Yeah.
So that was a very particular mixture of two plants that had to take a long time to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got these amphors that are found in ancient Greece or Rome or whatever the fuck that's like grape wine with the ergot fungus.
Kykeon
What is it?
Kykeon, that was the
that's right.
The LSD wine, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, but it was more like Salem witch trial wine.
Because the ergot made people fucking insane.
Yeah, ergot.
Yeah. The dosage is there's no dosage. Like sometimes it could make you have a spiritual thing, but most times it
drove you fucking insane, and that's
Yeah.
where you get like dancing manias and witch hysteria.
It's like a delirium at that
That's
point.
why they think they were mixing it with the wine because the something with the fermentation process and shit like that.
maybe they put it in before it was fermented.
It also cuts the sickness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you're not fucking
Puking and
They
shitting
say
your brains out while you're
exactly.
hallucinating.
They say the ambrosia, which is used a lot.
the food of the gods.
Yeah, well, that
You
could have
mean
been
that
many
fucking
mystical
Jello with the
sacraments.
shit in it?
With the carrots and the raisins. No,
That's Edward Scissorhands.
well, no. There's a, I don't know. It's in ancient writings from that time. They called it ambrosia. They would call it flesh of the gods, drink of the gods, food of the gods. And that could have been any Amanita muscaria, psilocybin, ergot. I mean, it could have been anything.
And think of
Lots of different things.
Hey, there's a lot of things in
Syrian
nature that
root.
will make you trip balls.
Dude, they were using fucking snake venoms to get high and making all kinds of medicines back in the day.
Fucking lick a toad, you know?
exactly. And so if you
Rub the
think
toad venom into a burn on your arm.
Yeah, think of all medicine is trial and error. And anyone who's taken fucking antidepressants or
Dartboard.
antipsychotics,
Practicing.
fucking
Practicing.
Yes, that's why it's called a practice. Same with practicing your religion. Fucking, it's like what works for you, you know? Fucking, you just gotta find it. So, we're working with Dr. Kurt Schneider's mnemonic device for symptoms of schizophrenia as our definition, and it goes ABCD. Which,
Oh, it's not fart?
no. But I'm sure you could reverse engineer
Boobs.
an acronym. When you reverse engineer an acronym, I believe it's called a notericon. I just learned that.
Wow, somebody got a vocabulary for Christmas.
Man,
Thank
I am
you.
a notericon fucking...
Take on my dick.
I don't know. I do that a lot with acronyms, though.
Yeah. Positive energy activates constant elevation. Peace. So, anyways, ABCD.
Penises are extremely retarded turds.
Liquor is
K's.
quicker, but candy is dandy.
I'm fucking... anyway, continue.
What did you say?
Liquor is quicker, but candy is dandy.
That's right. So ABCD, these are the main primary symptoms of what constitutes schizophrenia as far as medicine is still concerned today until the DSM-6 comes out, who knows. A, auditory hallucinations. B, broadcasting of thoughts. And I believe that I think he's using broadcasting as
It just means talk out loud,
It
right?
means you're getting lots of shit broadcast into you.
transmission and receiving.
See, when I read that, I thought that just means
that's
you're
in and
talking
out.
out loud.
Broadcasting of thoughts, I think, also constitutes like you're broadcasting your thoughts out loud for other people to hear, and the reception as well. Like you think you can hear other people's thoughts. C, controlled thoughts, which is a little misleading, but
Yeah, I don't know. What does that mean?
that just means that your thoughts are being controlled.
Oh, by someone
decisions
else.
are being made outside
someone
of
or
your head.
something, some other force. And then delusional beliefs and perceptions, D. There are other symptoms that are sort of underneath these, such as, and these are, this is not always, but sometimes symptoms.
Once again, blanket term.
Yeah.
Yep.
Erotomania, which is,
Jacking off a whole lot.
it could be that. I think
That's
Really
how
into
it
erotica?
That's how it
Well,
personifies.
Sometimes maybe the psychiatric definition is usually the example I see used a lot is like, say you see a celebrity on TV and fucking you like fall in love with her to like an obsessive degree. or him, or it, whatever. So,
Or he's like,
obsession.
So when you look at Jennifer Lopez and say, "That's my future ex-wife right there."
Yeah. Ben Affleck, what are you doing here?
Relevant.
Echopraxia. This is when you mimic the physical movements of people, usually in conversation.
I knew a dude like that.
Yeah,
Really?
this is usually.
I've never
He
seen
started
that
talking
one.
about a celebrity, like you mentioned Kurt Cobain, and he starts doing like physical like he can't help it. Like he starts like he becomes whoever you're talking about to a clinical level. Like he can't control himself.
Weird.
Yeah,
See,
it's
usually
interesting.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, usually when it happens with echopraxia, it's you're in a conversation with someone who exhibits this symptom, and whoever they're talking to.
Oh, they're mimicking you at that point.
If you're whoever they're conversing,
they're
with,
kind of repeating just what you say, basically.
Not necessarily. I mean, physically, yes.
Could be a
body
bit
language,
sociopathic.
but yeah. Hypergraphia is another one. This just means like obsessive writing, just nonstop. This is probably where we get most of our religious texts, but I digress.
Metallica, hypergraphia.
And then there's ideas of reference. This also plays in with erotomania.
Yeah, what does that fucking mean?
Ideas of reference, we'll get into some examples later, but ideas of reference are when, let's say you're watching TV, like watching the news, and you think that Dan Rather is talking to you specifically.
Oh.
Yeah. So those are like sort of
it's
subdivisionary.
Like how you
stuff.
can make a timeline out of seemingly meaningless blurbs of information and be like, see, and you make the connection in your head and you build the narrative instantly, and it all makes sense.
I've also heard that like in certain like occult and ritual practices that you undergo certain extended ritual mind states or whatever, where you think that everything that you see or hear is a sign from the universe. So it's sort of like it's
11-11.
like over assigning meaning into things happening around you.
I met a lady like that or two before.
And also, I'm glad you said 11-11 because under obsession, like word and number games.
Where they see all that. Fucking...
like you're like the Notera. You're backtracking. You see a license plate, and you start building things out of the letters and numbers from it. Did you pull up that? Oh no, wait. Yeah, one of our main sources.
Oh no, wait.
One of our main sources for today is a book called Operators and Things by Barbara O'Brien. I read the first chapter and it was pretty, but Spencer got the chance to read the whole thing, and I'm going to let him summarize this.
God bless you, Spencer.
Well,
I could not fucking make it through any of this.
I didn't mean to read the whole thing, but it was, I don't want to say it was a page turner, but like it grabbed me.
Fascinating.
This is a really, to me, a unique portrayal and description of her descent into schizophrenia and her recovery from. Barb. She was a woman in the business world. She was a woman, and she looked like a woman. But she was a successful businesswoman. She worked in marketing. She worked in the marketing industry, like Mad Men type shit.
Jesus
and,
Christ.
She went to school. She was a mover and a shaker in the field. She was very business oriented. It starts out when she starts talking about before. It's all predicated on one night she woke up and there was 3 hooded beings standing by her bed. But before that, I'll get to that in a second. Before that, she had a lot to think about. She called it the hookmen, and it was hooking was like basically it was business manipulation. It was like
not where you were. I saw your eyes light up.
Yeah, hooking. We already talked about that.
She described it when you have someone on the hook. It's like, say you're at the bottom of the totem pole. There's one guy ahead, and then the boss.
Yeah.
You start manipulating the guy in the middle to say things to put him in a place to where you can just double dutch right over him. It's manipulating a person so you could usurp them. basically.
Okay, yeah.
So it's like a business tactic.
That's some Game of Thrones shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. I mean, it's
the title
Or
comes
just corporate fucking life.
Well,
yeah,
that's her-
it's like
that's her
trying to
environment,
shit on your partner so you look better, basically.
the title operators and things, like, it's not just like, oh, operators and things. It's like operators and things. Like,
capital T things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
they're
phone operators, machine operators.
yes, in that sense, yes. And then
Human operators.
there are things, the things that
Yeah,
are
I didn't
operated.
get the title at all because like I was like
Yeah,
operate.
you
like,
got your operators and you got your things.
Yeah.
we got an old guy at work. He said I'm operator because he operates.
yeah.
He operates.
Smooth operator.
He drives the 18-wheeler and he also fucks around with the
that
big,
came up a lot when
the
I was
big
looking.
machines. Yeah. If you look at operators, operators are truck drivers,
Operating
and
tractor
dudes that
trailer.
drive big machines, excavators,
Yeah.
bulldozers, shit like
CNC
that.
operator.
Yeah. That's an operator.
Music factory.
So she had this business sensibility about her, and then one night, she was working a guy on the hook. She was trying to get ahead, by manipulating people, and she
was
also
operating.
she was getting there.
Okay.
And she had witnessed it in her experience. People using whatever advantage they could to get above someone, to brown nose the boss. To get ahead. And
This
so
is
she
very
had this
specific to her.
Yeah, this
environment,
is
too.
her experience as a woman in what is this, like the
60s,
fucking
50s or 60s.
Yeah,
Late 50s, early
and
60s.
so she already had a lot of pressure on her being a woman in the business world for one. And just one night, she woke up in the middle of the night. She said she saw 3 cloaked beings standing at the foot of her bed. And this started this whole very rapid descent into her madness. They basically said, we're the operators. We have, it started small. We're the operators. You're a thing. And I'm generalizing. And summarizing. There you go. And then after that, she basically had some operators with her at all times that she was conscious while she was going to work. She had people basically guiding her. And what I found really interesting is that her operators, so to speak, and basically there's this whole framework where every person is a thing and they're being operated by operators.
Yeah.
And the operators referred to them as things because they were just basically tools. And they seem to have her best interest at heart, and they would guide her they would coach her to say things and do things.
Well.
Yeah, just like we were talking about earlier.
That is because
They wanted her to appear sane,
usually
so they could continue operating her.
See, that's
Yeah, so they would.
interesting.
Yeah, and it got worse and worse, and she basically came to understand the whole world of operators. It's like a giant bureaucracy or hierarchy, whatever you want to call it. There's multiple agencies at a city, state, and federal level. And there's bosses. There's freelance operators. That don't prescribe to the organizations of operators.
okay.
Big time bureaucracy.
Yeah.
There's
But this is all in her head.
this is all in her head. But
This is what interests me the
She
most
has-
about schizophrenia is like the inside cosmologies. that
It's
people
they got
create.
like a whole
It's a
world
vast
build. It's
world.
world building.
and she was really
Yeah.
good at writing it all down and describing it. They basically planned for every eventuality, every movement she made, and it got more and more controlling. And she learned more and more as she went. They basically instructed her to quit her job, to write a letter of resignation, to be everything above board. And they had her go on these train rides across the country. And she was when she would go, they would tell her, buy a ticket to here, go there, and then the federal operator
for that section or
for that region.
Yeah.
Very regional. And there would be sidestepping and backstabbing within the operator world. Like there'd be people trying to be like, no, I need
she created drama within
drama within the operator.
drama within
Yeah.
the drama of her brain.
Yeah, and it was this whole thing. There was factions warring for control of her because she was very important.
I applaud her for writing a book about it.
Yeah.
It's really.
I think that's what helped her because she eventually
She got out of it. She regained.
She had a therapeutic moment or something. I think it has something to do with writing her story.
Yeah.
And just as quickly as she became or started suffering from these visions, she got out of it. A couple of years later. This is after years of going on train rides all over the country. She just toured the country on trains, and each time she would get to a train station and be like, okay, here's your next instructions. And they would have meetings and fights in between operator councils, and then all of a sudden, a few years later, they just stopped. There was no hooded, cloaked figures at her foot of her bed. And what happened was, this was a transitional moment for her. She went from the operators controlling her to what she called the...
like the desert or something?
Hang on. It's the...
So you think she just made all this up?
The dry beach. All of a sudden, all the operators and all the voices were gone.
That's right.
In a way, it was made up.
I mean, yeah.
And it was replaced by a dry beach.
It was made up because it's not real. But, I mean... Do you think that she really was schizophrenic?
Oh, made up the story for the book.
Or made up the story for the book?
Oh, no, from what I've looked at already, this sounds pretty true to form, especially that she
left a very successful career.
That's the thing. Yeah. Okay, so that is my main thing, is that all the people that I've seen but I know that they're looking at this list of famous schizophrenics, you can be functional. Yeah. You can be a functional human being.
It's a spectrum.
But, there are trouble spots, of course.
Yeah.
But then there's the schizophrenics that I see the most of. Those are the homeless and incarcerated.
Can you pull up that Stanford thing?
And that is the thing that is like... That's the part that is interesting to me, is the ones that are successful with it. If you understand your problem or whatever you want to call it.
Fucking crazy.
But if you can actually function as a human being, you don't get which I guess we don't have real funny farms anymore. You just end up in prison. But if you don't end up in prison or on the streets,
you end up in a 24-hour suicide watch place and they kick you back out on the street.
See, and then as my I've been told I'm a little insensitive. My
sensitive asshole.
Yeah, well, my thing was, fucking lock them back up. Fuck you, Reagan. Open up the fucking funny farms.
Yeah.
Because...
Thanks, St. Ronnie.
Because I have been in prison and county jail with a bunch of fucking people that I know, Mike, you told me, how do you know they're schizophrenics? I don't know that they're schizophrenics. They seem pretty fucking unfunctional to me.
When they're pulling off their thumbnails to get the microchips out of them, and
they're keeping the PP in jars and arguing with themselves all day, and it's like, yo, you got to get the fuck out. That's. I've been around enough of them where I'm like, and then just walking down the street.
We don't know the specific diagnosis.
I don't know the specific diagnosis. I know they ain't right, and if you ain't right and you can't fucking function as a fucking human. What else are we going to do with you? If you're a danger to yourself, or if you're not a danger to others, then okay, whatever. Yeah. Live on the streets. Live however you're going to live.
This is why we need socialized healthcare in this country, but it ain't going to fucking happen.
Reason number 277.
Yeah. But at the same time, fucking you got to... What are you going to do? Just institutionalize them? That's the thing.
No, spend more money on research and developing treatment.
Yeah, but there's not. We've been doing it for fucking years. I don't...
Well, yeah, things were more barbaric, and they're still barbaric to a degree. In mental health facilities.
We actually have a fucking lobotomy tool set in the house here.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that before.
Yeah, you mean your ice pick?
No, I literally bought Misty a lobotomy tool set.
But electroshock therapy is still widely used, and
it's been fine tuned and tweaked. And I've when I was in the booby hatch myself, I talked to a couple of people that were going electroconvulsive therapy.
Yeah,
and it was the only thing that kept them from.
Yeah, in some instances, but it's not a blanket fucking solution.
That's the thing. There is other than putting them somewhere where they can't hurt themselves or others.
Yeah,
that is the thing that I'm like, I don't know. I'm not for locking people up.
Devote more money to funding for
research.
But
at the same time, I don't want to fucking pay for it. I don't want my taxes going to fucking... It's like...
I wouldn't say, raise taxes to do it, but fucking take it out of something we're already paying a shitload for, defense. They got enough fucking weapons.
Sell one goddamn submarine.
Yeah, exactly.
To cure this shit.
Dude. I like the submarines.
You like submarine sandwiches.
Periscope down.
No, yeah, it's interesting also that you're coming from a correctional facility standpoint.
Because that's where they go now because there's no fucking funny farms.
Exactly. This woman, this anthropologist, she's a Stanford anthropologist named Tanya Lerman. She found that voice-hearing experiences of people with serious psychotic disorders are shaped by local culture.
Which is what's in Barb's book.
Yeah, she comes from a corporate background. In the U.S., the voices are harsh and threatening, and when I read that, the first thing I thought of was David Bowie's I'm Afraid of Americans for some reason. But in places like Africa and India, they're more benign and playful or whimsical. In places, basically she breaks it down in that places with more collectivist cultures, because America is very individualistic.
We're individualists,
Yeah.
and it's like you gotta fucking work hard and make it, and if you can't make it, we'll fucking throw you in the goddamn gutter.
Well, does everybody
it's
have to
social
work hard
Darwinism.
and make it?
exactly. It's how it's supposed to be.
No.
In a modern world with all this automation
disagree
and
with that.
technology, everyone has to work hard and be a badass?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
Caveman!
I mean, well,
It's
it's the only thing that fucking makes sense. Like, unless you just everyone has to take care of all the. I hate to bring up the eugenics again, but goddamn, like, everyone has to take care of everyone that is faulty.
No, but that's the that responsibility can fall on the state when we remove.
But the
certain
state is not
funding.
the state. The state is the people. The people are the state. So everyone is funding. The state is my money.
Socialized healthcare works in Canada. It works in the UK. It's been going on for fucking decades.
I get it.
And they have, I mean, granted, they have their other problems, but with things like mental health facilities, etc., and taking care of these people, taking care of the elderly, fucking, the money exists. We have the resources. It's just that when you have a fucking oligarchy at the top who are siphoning all the fucking money
If you
into
just
their own
work hard
pockets-
enough, you can be the king of Walmart.
No,
Yeah,
you
bullshit.
don't gotta do it. It's not even that. It's just if you are non-functioning in society, what the fuck are we gonna do with you? Like if you can't function, if all you are doing is being.
So what are we supposed to do? Take them out to the woods and just leave them there?
Yep.
All right. Well,
No, you put them in the funny farm.
Fuck you!
I didn't want to pull this card, but fucking, if the Nazis were in charge, you'd have been thrown in the camps, dude.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
When I was younger, yeah.
You wouldn't meet height requirements. I'm serious. Fucking, you have to be at least 5'9" to join up.
We're in the clear.
I'm just saying.
Well, y'all did be there too, because you're.
Yeah.
We have other problems.
You got other.
I'm not saying we're exempt,
requirement.
but yeah, fuck. I mean,
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about really, what are you
Let's
supposed
just
to do with
old
these
yeller
people?
all of them.
Like that's the thing.
Yeah,
What are you supposed to do with these people? Because they're unhelpable almost. As far
Find treatment and cures.
they could be. Dude.
They could be worked through. There are some. I'm looking at the list, and yes,
There could be more.
There are people.
There are medications that help, but when you have all these people on the street just thrown out, I mean, like
They have the facilities. They just don't do it. They need to be locked up to be like stabilized. There needs
that's
to be.
that's kind of what I'm saying as well. is
well,
that
yeah, for
you
sure.
have to put them somewhere.
Well, I'm totally
and
for that.
Yeah, when you can regulate them with medication, it gets better.
Okay, then
But
we are
yes,
in agreement.
Okay, yeah.
I am like, yes, put them in a funny. I'm not saying take them out to the woods and shoot them in the head.
No, yeah.
But like, that. Well, anyway,
I said we could take funding out of shit that has already got tons of money.
Yeah. No.
Fucking, there's too many rich assholes lining their
well,
pockets.
it's the
Sell one ICBM and look how much you can do with it.
the prison industrial complex. Because they're going to prison. They are going to prison and fucking it up for the regular fucking prisoners that just want to fucking exist and not be
Prison
around.
could be a utopia if it wasn't for the maniacs.
On the cool, yeah.
I mean, it could be a lot better, yeah. For sure.
It could be a lot better
If it wasn't in a for-profit system.
But the for-profit system
Yeah.
and you do put people that do not belong there,
And that's
there.
And that system is set up by rich industrialist dickheads who have fucking funding. Their money comes from the
Well,
prison.
you got to
industrial
pitch it
system.
different. You got to be like, look, y'all could make private funny farms.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
You just got to pitch it different.
Just
then
get
you
a couple
wouldn't
of
need-
the, what's it, like Ben Stiller's character from Happy Gilmore. It's like, this is handmade quality shit we're talking. Like, you get a couple of guys like that.
Yeah.
Maybe not as big a dickhead.
You will sleep when I tell you to sleep.
Yeah.
You get an arts and crafts program going. People love outsider art. I was about to jump into outsider art therapy. Or
How would you like a nice tall
outsider
glass
art
of shut the hell up?
and art therapy? I'm not saying, like, turn these into sweatshops, but, you know, if you've ever looked at, like, schizophrenic art, it is fucking...
Look, all right,
awesome and
we went
insane.
through. I sent this list to Mike the other day, and the entire list of famous schizophrenics is musicians, artists, and murderers,
Or both. Or all three.
or combinations of Charlie Manson.
Yeah.
And hey, Mike, your hero, fucking goddamn ODB, on there. Nick Blinko. When I was younger, I was real into fucking
The rock and roll McDonald's guy.
No, that's rock and roll McDonald's is Wesley Willis.
He's also schizophrenic.
No, old dirty bastard.
Oh, right.
Old Dirty Bastard was schizophrenic. Nick Blinko from Rudimentary Peni, which was very like I read Nick Blinko's book when I was 7th grade, which I probably did not comprehend everything fully at that. But he was a fucking schizophrenic, and as far as I know, I haven't looked enough into him. He at least
sometimes you got to revisit stuff.
I need to go revisit that. But there's a lot of people, and they can be successful. But if you're completely fucking non-functional at all,
that would be.
Well, what's the deciding factor? Like, when do you give up on somebody?
There's such a thing as catatonic schizophrenia, and that's when you are literally just like
Maria Bamford.
She was
catatonic for a year. She didn't speak.
When you're a complete shithead to everyone.
Well,
no, because you're saying if someone's an asshole, then there's no help for him. There shouldn't be any help for him. Like, what if that could be helped some way?
Well, if they
do they not deserve it because they called their mom a bitch?
No. If it's not even that, it's like well beyond when they're well beyond that. Like when they have burnt every bridge.
Oh, so we got the decider over here.
I'm just saying.
Well, that's another problem.
I'm not just saying. I'm giving my fucking
who decides opinion. where does the cutoff at? Like, there's people I think it was the same
every
podcast
soul could be saved. You know,
there's a lot of people who are leaving the San Francisco area because of the dangerous, mentally unstable homeless people problem.
Lots of businesses.
And San Francisco is a bastion of liberalism.
Yeah.
But you can't.
But there's so many of them. Living the product of what they have produced.
The rules of engagement between people, like anyone who comes up at you and is like, "Boo! I got a knife, motherfucker!" Like, that's not anyone you want to be around, especially if you're trying to live and grow with your children and start a family, etc. So I get that. At the same time, our state, and it's really what this boils down to, in my honest opinion, is fucking insurance companies, the pharmaceutical industry, and just medicine in general in this country is totally fucked.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't see how all that necessarily pertains to like the homeless schizophrenics on the street.
Because
they don't want it. They won't participate. Because if they both of y'all just admitted that your medications help you.
Yeah.
These people will not take medications. They won't fucking go into the facility where they can get help. They won't do any of this shit.
Sometimes
they could be stabilized and they could change their mind.
Sometimes it just takes a shot of Thorazine in the ass and put them in a rubber room.
That's kind of what I'm saying.
Well, I agree with you on that. That's what I agree with you on.
Better to be in a rubber room than pounding their head on it.
Either way, if you're out, fucking shaking a knife or a human leg and taking a bite,
you need to be off this fucking street.
The police are going to come get you.
But then they get put in fucking prison.
I know.
Bring back the funny farms. I will campaign. We can go.
Ronnie Reagan, the bastion of strong mental health. Like he decided.
I don't get why would a Republican fucking want to let all these fucking loony fucks out of the fucking
they can go to the prisons.
But that's the thing. It's the same thing. If Funny Farm's a prison too, you can make money off that. Like, in fact, you can make more money because there's doctors on staff. Like, what the fuck? You know how much money that is?
It seems like there could be more money to be made.
There's way more money to be made in the medical fucking
That's where you could have your pharmaceutical trials if I'm just mingle a spitballing or whatever.
No, absolutely. If you need to
God bless you.
Look, the only way to find out what helps these people is to fucking experiment on them. Like, I mean,
then you wouldn't have
again,
people
not a
taking
Mangala. I'm not a Mangala.
Make it incentive based.
Yeah, I mean, to a degree, yeah.
Crack?
I mean, people,
Meth?
fentanyl. It's all drugs to me.
Exactly.
I mean, you have people who get put on the wrong doctor-prescribed psychiatric medication and end up committing suicide.
Yeah.
I mean,
And by no part of the doctor, I mean, there's just
Half
with
that,
our
just-
understing right now, there's no telling
Or,
what
yeah,
pill is
or
going to
We
work.
don't
best for
understand shit about the goddamn
people.
human
And that's
brain.
that's what I'm saying. We
another
need
thing,
to
yeah.
get to where we do understand.
I don't think they're. I think some things are unknowable. I mean, maybe in the future, maybe in the
but
future.
maybe we should try them.
I mean,
Yeah.
they are trying. Like,
that's what I was saying about.
I can't watch Hulu without getting 8 different commercials for all these different fucking medications.
Adalimumab.
Seepage. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying about medicine, though, is that, like, if it weren't for all the barbaric practices that happened already,
We wouldn't know shit.
Yeah, we weren't where we are today. Sometimes you have to chop up a human brain to figure some shit out.
Yeah,
Sometimes you have to sew a couple of people together by the head.
that is kind of where
No.
I'm on
Cut
the.
Can they live?
Okay, so there's the fine line between what is socially acceptable and what really needs to be done.
Yeah.
And, like, it's unfortunate.
It's practicality versus
the
idealism.
whole thing. That's the thing. The whole thing is fucking unfortunate. But it's just what it is. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't know. Like, I am not a smart man.
Well, let's do a thought experiment with that. What if they found out through, say, eugenics? What if they genetically disappeared everybody with schizophrenia, for example? And what if it kept coming back? That means it's not a genetic thing; that it's something else.
Well, yeah.
And then that could be like the next step in treatment.
But that's the thing, because of the whole Nazi thing, you can't fucking experiment with that anymore.
Well, yeah,
And everybody's all up in arms against eugenics.
Well, I mean, like,
No,
I mean, really though,
It's
like, goddamn.
it's the morality.
I mean, I kind of it would be good if we could just wipe it
It's
out.
the intersection of science and morality with human experimentation.
And there's just
yes,
too much fucking shit on the
yeah,
other side.
And I mean, I don't know. It's humans who are the ones who are miserable. And it's humans who have the problem. Stop testing it on fucking animals. But when you fucking, even if you have a willing human participant in a subject as such, fucking people get up in arms.
It's so
it's a
nuanced.
slippery slope. It's a precarious precipice.
And then you end up in this situation we're in where you got all these fucking assholes. Spencer, I know you got it personally back home, where somebody they're just like, I'm unfunctional. I am unfunctional.
I mean,
and a lot of people are like, just can't fucking do it, but they can. They just don't want it.
well,
They
that's
could.
been a problem with medicines forever. Is you will always have malingerers. They
Yeah,
call it. It's
exactly.
called malingering. Fucking people who will
Hangers on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's people who
I can't
will,
do this because of that, and that's it.
and
Because you hear about all this shit and you're like,
hypochondriasis, fucking like a hypochondriac. The medical
Is it
profession-
hypochondri? What did you say the first
It's-
one? Hypochondriasis.
Hypochondriasis is the
is this state of the
yeah.
hypochondriac
Once again,
person.
Fuzzy swinging for the fences with the vocabulary.
there's sort of a ongoing medical conspiracy theory, for lack of a better term, called iatrogenesis, which is medicine causes sicknesses, basically, or the medical profession. It's like
The idea of it does.
yes,
It's like copycat killers. The idea of
Yes.
it being out there
the
makes
the concrete examples they use is like if you go to a hospital and you catch like
You see somebody bleeding from their brain and you're like, oh, and they get the doctor there first?
It's not necessarily a psychological thing. I mean, it does happen where like you go to a hospital and because that's where all the sick people are at, maybe you catch something at the hospital. So there is a bacteriological
I think it's
or
a
physical component
mentally
to
catching
it.
it. It's like,
But
I
yes,
see this person's getting attention. It's fucking 2-year-old syndrome is
Yeah.
what it is.
WebMD.
It's like, I
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that this person's throwing a fit
WebMD
and
is the fucking-
and being a fucking, they're getting all the attention.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Maybe I should do that.
If
they
you
don't have to work anymore
As a matter of fact,
because
that
they're
happened to me
diagnosed
once.
with this.
Yeah.
Maybe I should be diagnosed with that so I don't have to fucking go to work.
Sitting and collecting disability checks. Yeah,
Exactly.
fucking,
That's how I feel.
Whereas a person has a legitimate reason to collect disability checks, someone else who is not quite fucking up to snuff functionality wise for just because non-medical reasons they're just an asshole. Yes, it happens. And it's unfortunate because that's what kind of weighs down the whole system. But this is another problem with the approach to medicine in this country, as far as like insurance companies and big pharma and even to a lesser degree. I mean, I'm sure this is more. I'm getting more into the realm of conspiracy theory, but I think there might be maybe like a cultural push of some sort behind more people saying that they're autistic or whatever. There's some kind of impetus behind it.
Everyone wants to be the minority.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best way I could,
And
to
that
put it succinctly.
is whack.
So, in studies of schizophrenia, another one of our main sources for today is a book that I read most of. I'm not going to lie, I couldn't finish it. It was...
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, yeah, it was a big book. It's called The Technical Delusion. And
I read some of that, yeah.
The author's name escapes me. It's a lot of technical jargon and a lot... I mean, it's well-researched, well-written. It'll be in the show notes. But the reason I picked this book, and it goes along with what we're talking about today, is there was a paper written by a doctor named Victor Trausk, I believe it is, early 1900s. And he wrote this paper called On the Origin of the Influencing Machine in Schizophrenia. And it touches on the reoccurrence of secret technologies in schizophrenic patients' delusions and or their inner cosmologies. There's this reoccurring theme of unknown technology, basically. And from our previous studies and other shows we've done, we know that psychotronic weaponry and sonic weaponry are a very real thing. Mm-hmm. But we also know that gang stalking, largely a delusion. It does happen. Just look at the eBay case. But he talks about this concept called, the author of the book, he talks about a concept called reflectionism. And it's basically, it demarcates the history of schizophrenia through most of history. It's and you still see it today. It's largely has a lot to do with religious delusions and religious manias, which still show up quite a bit in schizophrenia and a lot of mental health issues. But the post-industrial era, industrial and post-industrial, you start to see this theme of secret technologies fucking with these people, basically. And this idea of reflectionism is essentially, is it the disease? Is it our understanding of it? Or, as we saw just now with that Stanford research study, is it the culture that's dictating the disease? Which, that would be the answer, basically. I don't know the time frame the book was written versus that Stanford study, but society and technology have a definite direct effect on schizophrenia. And as far as schizophrenia and the supernatural goes, like we said, pre-industrialized society has lots of religious manias to it. There's a phenomenon that still exists today in most Middle Eastern cultures called was. And this is where the jinn, which are, big in their spirituality, big in Islam, big in the culture, and that concept of the jinn, it predates Islam even. It's
DJINN.
Yeah, it's where we get the term genie.
Rub that bottle.
Gotta rub me the...
Yeah. Got that white girl, Christina Aguilera. So was is the name that they use for when these spirits talk in your ear. But all throughout history, you have various individuals who talk with spirits, gods, demons, or daemons. And daemon, I'm not talking about Matt. Daemons is the original Greek word for the name. And these weren't necessarily bad. They were, co-opted by Christianity and turned into something bad. And then you have the genius, which the original meaning of genius is sort of like a spirit or guardian angel that talks to you within your own your own faculties of higher logic and reasoning. So post-industrial, you get into all these delusions with schizophrenia or schizophrenic-like symptoms of people hearing clicks, beeps, radios, TV, transmissions, rays, electromagnetism. That's a big one lately. 5G has been a proliferating conspiracy theory. So, but this also plays in with psychotronics and sonic weaponry. So it's determining, in those rare cases, what is real. And we've also discovered in the last couple decades or so that there are magnetite crystal structures within the brain, specifically the pineal gland, pineal gland, that are very similar in structure to the quartz crystals used in radios and TVs and things for receiving transmissions. The crystals in radios are responsible for, how to put this, they pick up the vibrations, and that's where the noise comes from, because all sound is vibration. But these crystals in the pineal gland, and this, the articles I read on this are beyond my understanding. It was very...
Well, I mean, aspirin is a crystalline compound, you know, and it can be in your bloodstream, so, I mean, there you go.
Yeah. There were papers that talked about these crystals being responsible for spatial reasoning as well, or like spatial orientation, you know, up, down, left, right, etc. But as we saw with the Stanford Institute's anthropological study, most of these schizophrenic voices are shaped by the culture, or with Barbara O'Brien being, I don't want to say raised, brought up through that corporate culture, and the way her delusions took on a sort of corporate structure, more or less.
They did.
But I found also, and this is something I'm continuing to research because, believe it or not, this schizophrenia episode plays into a lot of the ultra-terrestrial research I've been doing. But there is a long, long list of capital G great men and women all throughout history who have had encounters or talked to or received inspiration from what could best be classified as non-human entities or intelligences.
I've been looking at this list. I think most of them are just liars. Like,
well, they can both.
Everyone wanted to say that God told them to do something, or they and got divine purpose.
That's why I threw certain ones in here.
Of course, Joan
I
of
spoke
Arc,
to God last night.
Napoleon, George Washington, George Bush, Nikola Tesla. Everyone wanted to say that they've got, because people were fucking idiots, and religion has always been a thing, and so they're just throwing, and especially Bill fucking W of Alcoholics Anonymous. That motherfucker. Alcoholics Anonymous is just a Christian fucking. I had to go through the 12-step process. I'm sorry.
It's helped millions of people.
It's helped a lot of people because it's a fucking just a mind.
Well, it's not always necessarily God either.
But it's something divine.
It's like
not necessarily that either.
I think all of
Napoleon
wasn't. It's magic.
Napoleon allegedly had an encounter with a small red demonic entity. For lack of a better word, he said it looked like a red devil in one of the pyramids of Egypt. Some of these people, it's aliens. Some of these people, it's spirits.
I think they all fucking made it up and said that so to make themselves look, because they are all people that were already big when all this shit happened.
No.
I don't know.
Some of this is a lot of these people were inspired to do the things they did because of contact with these voices.
You don't think they made it up after the fact?
No, because some of these people have very, once again, like
detailed biographies?
Well, there's that, yes, but there's also, like we saw with Barbara O'Brien, there are very detailed cosmologies and world building. There are rules, there are certain causes and effects, and separate laws of nature, etc., that apply within their inner worlds. And some of these people are more well documented than others. Like Crowley started a religion based on it, and fucking L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, they both made shit up.
Yeah,
they both made shit up entirely.
Well, Crowley, I don't know.
Maybe they believed it a little bit, but that's you making yourself believe something because you fucking like are preaching it.
Crowley specifically, like
Crowley.
Whatever.
Mr. Crowley.
It's with him. He also delves into this because as an occultist, he's like, maybe it doesn't matter what the voice is. It's what the voice is saying or what it wants. Florence Nightingale, World War I, I believe.
The nurse?
Nurse, yeah. She's the whole reason she got into her line of work is because of what she thought she was hearing from these voices. So it's not always a bad thing. It's not always a cynical cash grab like L. Ron Hubbard. Nikola Tesla thought he talked to Martians or Venusians or whichever.
Maybe if it's your inner voice telling you something to like you have the
that's-
idea.
yeah, that's
but
like-
that's the thing. It's you're just having an idea and you're like, oh, something told me to do that. It's like, no, you just had a fucking idea.
Well, some of these people...
It's just a fucking idea.
I didn't get to look into Jane Goodall as much as I'd like.
Monkey
but
fucker.
I tried to throw in
Pretty much sums it
maybe,
up.
Yeah, maybe. I threw in some scientists because Rupert Sheldrake is the guy who came up with the morphogenetic field. And this is an idea that's like... I guess it would be the scientific equivalent of the Jungian or Freudian unconscious. Like, maybe there are these things in the back of our brains and the parts we don't use very often that sort of store information from the cloud, for lack of a better term, that can be occasionally tapped into.
All right, so we would have to know when they supposedly had this, but otherwise I'm just seeing a lot of narcissists.
Maybe you're projecting.
Maybe. Maybe.
Oh.
Dr. Jack Sarfati, he was a physicist. His story I know a little better. Like, he got a phone call one day from a strange metallic voice that, well, now I think about it, it is a little narcissistic, actually.
Yeah.
It basically told him, like, you're a special boy and you're going to do something special.
Yeah,
one
and
day.
Joan of Arc, like, she was just religious delusion, and she was a little warrior, and she made it a few times, and it's like,
Yeah.
goddamn, God's on my side.
Yeah.
I'm hearing angels talk to my ass. Like,
And, well, see, and that's the thing, too. Like, even if it is just a voice in their head.
or they made it up.
Well, even that, like,
I'd say I don't put it past any of these people to make that shit up.
maybe the psychosomatic effect it had, because a lot of this happened before these people became famous. So maybe these voices pushed them into greatness.
Are you saying this just because these people are famous? Because we were talking about
No,
earlier
no,
about
because
people
they
who
were famous in their
that you
times
meet in
already.
prison.
All right, Joan of Arc. Okay, Joan of fucking Arc. She was fighting already. She was already, like, had a reputation. She was famous before she was famous.
No, she had the delusion, quote unquote,
Beforehand?
first, and then became a warrior.
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm saying, because with some of this is what pushed these people into quote unquote historical greatness.
Because that kind of disagrees with what you're saying about the people you've met in prison.
What do you mean? I don't think any of these people had special mental... Like, I don't think any of these people heard voices, except for maybe Joan of Arc.
Well, what's the difference between them and the people you met in prison, though?
Those motherfuckers were unfucking stable. These people are successful.
But it's they're hearing voices as well.
No, I don't think they did.
See, I included people.
I don't think they did. I think they made it up.
I
I think they
included-
did that to manipulate the rest of society because they were smart.
Chris, you should do a ritual.
I wake up and I drink coffee. And
No,
smoke
I
a
mean
cigarette every day.
you should do like an Enochian call of an angel.
But I don't believe
Or-
any of that shit, so none of it
Then
would
do
affect
one.
me. It won't affect me.
Then do one.
Why would I do that? Because it doesn't.
Then just do one.
I don't believe in it.
Okay, then just do one.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sure.
We'll
We'll go after that later.
We're gonna get you recorded playing hide and seek alone. Make sure everyone
Why
else
would
is
I
out of
play
the
hide and
house.
seek alone?
It's a ritual.
That's a ritual.
You call a spirit down into a doll. Home alone. You have to play hide and seek with it.
But then the wet bandits will show up.
Stop deflecting. You're gonna play hide and seek alone with the doll.
That's stupid.
Well, see,
So
how
why-
do you know?
yeah, how do you know?
Just because you say it's stupid?
Yeah.
Without
do
any
it.
proof, without any
If
evidence.
it's some stupid thing, then just do a ritual.
But okay. Oh, but really though, like
Got your ass.
Yeah.
these, you didn't, because all these people are successful. You can't tell me that they couldn't have just not been making shit up. Especially Bill fucking W. I've been through the fucking AA shit. He is a goddamn huckster. He
Well,
fucking created a shit.
that's why I included like him and George W. Bush, because yes, some of these people are just saying shit,
Yeah.
but some of these people, before they became great historical figures, they had these experiences that pushed them into this.
But I think I
Historical
really
greatness.
do think also a lot of that is just them saying they basically had the idea. Like, they had the idea, oh, something told me, something inside of me told me that I'm supposed to be doing this.
This is why I also included...
That is what I'm saying. It's not like they don't really hear voices. It just became that throughout time.
I tried to get like a sweeping, basically array of examples.
Yeah.
Like Aristotle is a perfect example.
I don't know enough about Aristotle.
He's a good example of what the Greeks used to, where the word genius comes from. It's your higher inner reasoning and logic abilities, your higher intelligence.
Okay.
But the genius, as the Greeks used it and understood it, is where the concept of the guardian angel comes from. Basically, it's your like protector spirit. It's looking out for you.
But like Napoleon, okay, so like it was documented that he said this before he did anything fucking fabulous.
Actually, he was already doing shit.
That's what
he was already a big dude, but the reason I included Napoleon is because
Napoleon, a big dude.
Well,
actually, he was average height. That's a misnomer. He wasn't short.
Yeah, he was my height.
The reason I included Napoleon is because after he had this weird little like episode or whatever in the pyramids of Giza, he stormed out and like something visibly had him upset and shaken. And, like, people were like... He shook. Yeah, they were like, what happened to you? And they're like, what happened? And he's like, I don't want to talk about it.
Years of war! Slaughter!
Maybe.
Fucking blood!
Maybe.
Guts!
But how does stuff like that present itself in your mind? Like we were saying, the culture
a mental
shapes...
breakdown. Every sane person can have a mental breakdown. Like, if you go through enough shit...
Well, then maybe
you need a mental breakdown, I can get you a mental breakdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Mental breakdown by 5 o'clock.
But I'm just saying, I don't think these people are schizophrenic in any way.
No, I'm not saying they're schizophrenic. I'm saying these are people who have had encounters in varying degrees. They claim to have talked to or received inspiration from a non-human intelligence.
I think that's all on a spiritual thing. That's not a, like, oh, I actually heard it. That's I just felt something.
But it's real to them.
Yeah, I mean, I've felt the thing spiritually once or twice, but, you know. Yeah, only once or twice. But, like, I mean, I just really don't think that they actually heard anything. I don't think that they were hearing voices.
Notebook, right?
Well, I mean, that's a specific way to put it, like hearing voices. Like, you have a inner dialogue, or whatever you want to call it.
Well, that's just your thoughts.
Yeah, maybe. But where do these thoughts come from?
Your brain. But these were functional people.
Sure about
other than Joan of Arc. I think Joan of Arc was religious schizophrenia.
That's what brings us back to the argument of... The constant, like when you see schizophrenics having constant, like, damaging and self-harming thoughts.
Yeah.
Why would the voices who are living inside your brain want you to die or hurt yourself when it's the brain that's keeping them alive?
Yeah, that's interesting. But, I don't know.
Why would the parasite want to kill the host, basically, is a... oversimplification, but that's one way of looking at it.
Because I don't know, when their brain's not working right and they can't function, everything's bad. And if everything's bad, you want to die.
Well, it might not be as simple as things are bad. What if there are operators? On certain people? No.
Yeah. I mean, this last one.
Well, I mean, to these, I'm talking about in these people's minds,
working within their framework or
these people were the fucking operators. That's the thing. All these people were successful.
Yeah, and some of them got to that level of success.
Movers and shakers, yeah.
Fucking George Washington.
Well, if you're crazy, if you can hear voices and fucking pull off, if you can goddamn take fucking all the things like Napoleon did, or George Washington did.
His voices told him not to brush his teeth.
Or George W. did, then fuck. I mean, then you're not mentally ill. You're just fucking, you're doing it.
Maybe,
you're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
I mean,
not everything's Vietnam.
I mean, it is sometimes.
Depending on how deep in the shit you were. That's why I included this last one. The 1950s era Space Brother contactees. A lot of these guys weren't people who were, quote-unquote, abducted by aliens. They were contacting aliens through Ouija boards and weird rituals and shit like that.
Okay.
Channelers, same thing. DMT users meeting elves and shit. I mean, you can always say, oh, it's just drugs.
They're just psychonauts.
But it's weird.
I never saw them elves.
That various.
I saw a Cartman once,
That's fun.
From South Park.
but it was like a transforming. I guess
I saw the elves before I'd ever even heard of that shit. When I heard about people seeing the elves on DMT, I did DMT in 2009, and fucking I had to crawl down to the floor and fucking I'm like, I need to be low. And then laying on that ground, I fucking hit the DMT again, and then fucking I did see the little fucking, they were like, it was gnomes that came out essentially, and I was like, well, this is weird.
There's
Every pokey little belly.
And then there's people from various different cultures who've never met each other who
having the
didn't-
same.
Yeah.
I believe. Hey,
That is hard to.
I'm not saying
yeah,
everything's
just
hard and fast with the brain. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I think if you're successful
And then
a functional, that's different than
there's also
non-functional.
the variety of DMT entities that certain people see.
Yeah.
Like you hear about people meeting like harlequins and jesters.
I saw a goddess.
But also some
that
of,
happens a
some
lot,
of
too.
it is also on your own brain chemistry
There's
and how it reacts.
I forget the comedian's name, but he used to talk about how he had a DMT girlfriend.
Joe Rogan.
No, some other guy.
Not a comedian.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe Rogan's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Funny looking.
Your mileage may vary. No, there was this comedian who talked about every time he did DMT, like this goddess figure would approach him. And see, I think this has a lot to do also with Jungian archetypes. Like, we have these like symbols built into our brain that are reoccurring and span
The
cultures.
goddess, the serpent.
Yeah. And when you look at stuff like monomyths, like
The clown.
sacred clowns, fucking jesters,
The jokers,
fools,
the smokers.
Midnight Tokers.
backdoor pokers, fucking. There's the mystics, the saints, and fucking tons of scientists working for the U.S. government, which we'll get to down the road. I didn't want to delve too deep into that, give too much of the game away, but like I said, this is by no means a comprehensive list, but I'm working and researching on something closer to that in my spare time. No, the idea of these archetypes and the whole thing with DMT users and the variety. I mean, they always encounter entities. There's always some other intelligence there, or a sense of otherness. And even that in itself is strange. And I think it has something to do with, and this is my own personal theory, I think we've lost touch with the sacred. I think we've lost touch with a personal relationship with the spiritual and the other world, or whatever you want to call it. Because back in the day, you know, our fucking ancestors were like talking to their dead ancestors and shit like that. So even if it's in their head, there's that psychosomatic effect that you're sort of, even if that's what it is, there's a psychosomatic
It's
effect.
real to you.
Yes, exactly. It's through your perceptual filters, and these ideas, these archetypes, spring from like monomyths. Like, we just found out in the last decade or so about the Younger Dryas, and everyone had flood myths, and it turns out it was fucking true. It really happened. So I think with a lot of these other ideas of like hidden peoples and hidden races, or like I hesitate to say ghosts or spirits.
Don't let the
but-
archaeologists get a hold of you. Goddamn.
No, yeah, they'll
They will hang you.
they got a
They got an agenda.
Yeah. So that's I don't know. That's just like we said, that's just a small sample of historical figures who were propelled either after seeking or after achieving what they achieved, and some of these people were propelled into it. But back to on the origin of the influencing machine in schizophrenia. I've got a list here.
I'm looking at this list. A few of them I know, a few of them I don't. But I'm looking at Timothy McVeigh.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to him. Hold on 1 second. So this is an.
And of course, Uncle Ted.
Oh yeah. His message is more pertinent than ever.
I do believe he is a little nutty.
Oh yeah.
He
He hurt people and killed people.
Well,
Which-
so did
yeah.
Timothy McVeigh, but he was a real frustrated man. I honestly, I mean, Martin. Do we got Martin Heemeyer on there?
No, but he was a hero.
Exactly.
He didn't hear voices though. He was.
Did Timothy McVeigh hear voices? I never heard anything about Timothy McVeigh hearing voices.
Yeah, he had a whole. We'll do him first.
Let's do him first.
Timothy McVeigh made all these claims, and once again, this is post-arrest.
Yes.
So no,
he would that's not real. Then he was lying.
Yeah, probably. But he claimed that there were chips implanted in him that were transmitting thoughts into his brain.
Is there the whole theory that he was MK? He MK Ultra'd because he was supposedly went into Special Forces. He did try out for Special Forces. That was a fact, and we don't know what happened after that.
Yeah, and sometimes MK Ultras may be looking for a washout.
Yeah.
And Timothy McVeigh,
Uncle Ted
Kaczynski.
He was actually part of the fucking process.
He was a no shit for real MK Ultra subject.
Acid in what college was he at? Was it Harvard? No, it was Harvard.
Was it?
I believe.
I thought it might have been Berkeley.
No, fuck.
But yeah, Ted Kaczynski wrote a book called The Dehumanizing Effects of Industrial Culture and the Isolation of a Technologically Advanced Society, which maybe we should all take another look at because, granted,
I'm with you.
He fucked up and killed some people, but if you look at the effects that social media, etc., is having on people, the number of people being radicalized, the number of mass shootings that are being fucking performed by nerds who sit around on the fucking computer all day.
I think that's where that comes from.
Yeah. So that's Timothy McVeigh and Ted Kaczynski.
Ted Kaczynski had his own thing. Timothy McVeigh, I think, was just a frustrated white guy, fucking living up. He wanted to, and I mean, hey. Have I wanted to blow up a federal building before? Absolutely.
We all.
Am I around tax time? Am I right, Field Bill?
Yeah. Am I going to? No. Yeah. Just so y'all know, I will never, ever, ever blow up a federal building.
So if I get blamed for it, it was a frame up.
Yeah, it was a frame up. I am not suicidal ever.
This list is predominantly post-industrial because I wanted to. Well, no, I got
Natalia.
Well, I got two ladies on there.
Who's Natalia?
That's a patient of Freud's, if I remember correctly. I was talking about it the other night.
Did they do bumps together?
Maybe. Dude,
they did files together.
Dude,
man.
Freud would get coked up and talk to his patients and just be like, "Tell me all the shit." And
he wasn't just a snuffleupagus.
Yeah,
he IV'd cocaine.
Yeah,
and that is where you get.
That's when you start seeing the lights flashing outside.
Well, you hear a train blow through your brain at the same time.
So, this isn't chronologically in order, but one of the subjects of Dr. Victor Tausk's On the Origin of the Influencing Machine and Schizophrenia, there's these two first ones were kind of touched on in his paper, his essay. James Tilly Matthews was a man, and these are turn of the century, late 1800s, early 1900s. James Tilly Matthews was a guy who thought that there was a secret cabal that he called the heirloom, not like tomatoes or,
passed down.
Yeah, but AIRLOOM. And he thought that there was this gang of people who wore helicopter backpacks. This isn't the early 1900s.
The Go-Go Gadget helicopter?
Exactly, yes.
Oh, yeah.
That were watching him from the sky and beaming thoughts into his brain, etc. Daniel Paul Schreiber is another from that era. He thought that somebody somewhere, he never really specified on who, but he thought that rays and transmissions were being used on him to constantly make him think about what it would be like to be a woman and transfer his sexuality to that of a female.
What year was this?
These are late 1800s, early 1900s.
Okay.
And then Natalia A., the patient of Freud's, I was talking about her the other night. She was under the delusion, let's call it what it is, basically, that there was another group, another unspecified group, who had a sarcophagus of sorts, like a machine sarcophagus built that looked like her, but it was filled with machinery and it worked like a voodoo doll. So whatever they did within this machine sarcophagus on her body, wherever it was, affected her body. And that she was being abducted in the night and put inside this sarcophagus to like recalibrate it and just it all worked on like voodoo doll mechanics.
Okay,
basically.
was this before or after she met?
Before?
Okay, so she wasn't shooting cocaine.
No,
But did he shoot her with cocaine?
maybe.
That's the last thing you want to do with a schizophrenic.
Yeah, because that's what schizin is.
They need to sleep.
With our long departed friend, we used to stare out the fucking window and he would see people coming. There was nobody there. But
every car was the same person.
Every car was the same. Every white F-150 was following us. And it's like, no, there's just... we're in Texas. There's about 8 million Ford F-150s that are white.
It's weird that when he and I did acid together and just sat in his car and looked at the moon, that was like the most serene I've ever seen.
Well, you watch him shoot a half a gram of cocaine into a vein and things are different.
No, yeah, he come to my house a lot afterwards. Okay, Dan Rather. Now, this is actually a well-known incident.
Dan Rather.
Not a lot of people know about it. Dan Rather was the victim of 2 unknown assailants who assaulted him and kicked the shit out of him. And during that whole time, they kept saying, "What's the frequency, Kenneth? What's the frequency?"
Is that where the song came from?
Yes.
No shit?
Yeah.
How about that?
And there's actually...
REM for you youngsters out there.
For the post-millennials crowd.
Yeah.
The guy who may have been one of the assailants, no one knows for sure, may have been this dude named W.W.T.W, who a decade later would fill his car with assault weapons and explosives and show up at, I believe it was an NBC studio.
It was.
And he killed a guy who is basically like a security officer who stopped him, but that he stopped him from going inside and carrying out his whole plan, whatever the fuck it was. But he died in the process. But once they got this W.W.T.W dude into custody, they were talking to him, and he eventually more or less confessed, which, take it with a grain of salt, to being one of the people that assaulted Dan Rather. However, I found this online article. Now, I don't know how much of this is true, but...
it looks like Lucky Luciano.
It kind of does. This article on fantasymerchantblog.wordpress.com.
Benzedrine, Oh, it's the actual.
Yeah, it's it talks about how this W.W.T.W dude was apparently somehow socially connected with a guy that Dan Rather grew up with in Houston, which I didn't know he's from Houston.
I didn't know he was from Houston.
But they grew up together, and for a while, Dan Rather was his editor because he was like a science fiction writer. And What's the Frequency, Kenneth showed up in this dude's, one of his books that he wrote. So there's this weird like connection that maybe this wasn't just an entire schizophrenic delusion attack. Like maybe the guy who wrote this book, he somehow knew W.W.T.W or Taser or whatever, and said like, "Hey, let's go kick Dan Rather's ass." So I don't know how much validity to assign this.
Dan Rather.
I'll include it in the show notes. You can take a look for yourself. Kind of.
That's interesting. I never knew that one.
Okay, Gary Stallman. This is a story I wanted to use previously.
Gary Stallman? The name sounds familiar.
Gary Stallman is a man who, on August 19th, 1987, a gun-carrying Gary Stallman entered the studio of Los Angeles' KNBC television,
that one.
crashing consumer reporter David Horowitz's live newscast. Stallman handed Horowitz a written statement and ordered him to read it while holding a gun on him. Unbeknownst to Stallman, KNBC immediately switched to a commercial, not permitting the statement to be transmitted. When Horowitz finished reading the statement, Stallman surrendered his gun, which turned out to be a toy pistol. Stallman, the son of a pharmacist who appeared on KNBC newscasts as an expert on drugs, was sent to Los Angeles County Jail. This is the text of his message. The man who has appeared on KNBC for the last 3 years is not my biological father. He is a clone, a double created by the Central Intelligence Agency and alien forces. It is only a small part of a greater plot to overthrow the United States government and possibly the human race itself. The CIA has replaced and tried to destroy my family and those of my friends. Wow, this is a long statement. I don't think I'm going to read it. Basically, and there's like YouTube videos, you can see it. Actually, the most interesting and amazing thing about the whole Gary Stolman story is that Horowitz, the reporter, which you don't see a lot of this today, was very humane and understanding. And, I mean, not just because he had a gun pointed on him. He was like, well, yeah, what do you have to say? Like, let's hear you out. Because he knew they weren't broadcasting anymore. But the funniest thing about that whole scene is that his two co-anchors on the other side of the desk, when they come in, you hear this woman, like, she sees the man with the gun come up behind him. She's like, oh, no. So, but yeah, I'll try and include that video in the notes as well. David Letterman had a stalker. This is, I don't remember the woman's name. I actually couldn't find it.
Madonna.
But, was it? No, it was a viewer. She,
they fucked though, right?
Probably.
I think they dated.
David Letterman had a dangerous female stalker for a while, and that's where we mentioned earlier the ideas of reference, because she thought that David Letterman was talking directly to her through the TV.
Oh wait, it seems I have tonight's top 10 list.
You got any gum?
Oh wait,
Actually,
I don't have the top 10 list, but I need one. From now on, I'm getting a top 10 list.
And this is another one of those weird coinky-dinks, but John Hinckley, who was largely influenced...
Well, everybody knows he's fucking...
Free John Hinckley. Oh, wait.
He's out.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's a musician now. He was largely influenced by the film Taxi Driver. It's where he fell in love with what's her name, Fonda, and he tried to
when
enact
she was
his
like
little
14.
Yeah, it's
not Fonda.
Jodie Foster.
Jodie
That's
Foster.
right.
Yeah.
He turned that high power perception on herself, Dr. Lecter. Yeah, that lady.
Yeah.
But a lot of people know this, but the Hinckley family had strong connections with the Bush family. He shot fucking Ronald Reagan. So, I don't know. Just something to look into.
Have the lambs gone quiet?
Little earworm for you.
Yeah. The Beatles, there's all kinds of weird shit around this. So, obviously we have Charles Manson and the whole helter-skelter fucking race war thing that he heard through the Beatles music. This is another sort of idea of reference thing. But,
alright, Charlie was crazy as fuck and took acid every fucking day for years.
That's why I'm saying that not all drug use will cure certain mental health.
It creates... Well, one... I mean, Charlie was created by the fucking system. He was created... Charlie was just created.
Yeah.
He was a fucking bastard child of a whore mother.
Raised in prison.
In prison.
Look into Jolly on West. That was his programmer.
MK Ultra.
Yeah. Operation Chaos.
Yeah. And then fucking more acid on his own. More and more and more and more. Like, so much acid, like, you couldn't fucking... so much acid. The acid that this guy took was so great.
How much acid was it?
It was so great. This guy, he took so much acid, you wouldn't believe how much acid this guy took. And no, really though.
He's up to his ears in acid.
Oh yeah, it was fucking ridiculous.
His pH balance is way off.
Oh yeah. He needs some fucking
Summer's Eve. It restores the pH balance.
I ain't got no mother. Jail was my mother. Not only that, but two of the Beatles were murdered by delusional...
Wait, two Beatles were murdered?
Yeah, the big one, the famous one.
John Lennon.
And then George Harrison.
What?
Yeah, there was a mentally ill man with a knife. He jumped over his fence and got...
George Harrison was murdered?
Yeah.
I thought he was just attacked.
Yeah,
he was murdered. Well, he was attacked, and I think he went to the hospital and died in the hospital.
No, I don't. I have to check that.
Yeah, man.
Google that shit.
Not only that, but the Beatles also, they fit into a lot of... well, yeah, I'm not a big fan. I think they're overrated, personally. But they have some connections to Aldous Huxley, and I forget, when we're talking about Lyndon LaRouche, it's not like I'm agreeing with anything that fucking psychopath has ever said, but... He's got his whole conspiracy theory that Aldous Huxley was working with the fucking British Crown to flood the United States with LSD and give them rock and roll and create the counterculture to cripple America, etc. So,
No, he died of throat cancer, fool.
well, he was attacked. That's all I know. Fucking,
Yeah, he was attacked.
He was attacked,
Yeah.
but yeah, he didn't die.
I
I was about to say, there weren't 2 Beatles that were murdered.
could. Oh man.
No, he got attacked, but yeah,
That's
yeah.
the Mandela
effect. Yeah, it's not me. I'm not a moron.
Sinbad did do that shit.
Yeah, he did.
That was
Shazam.
That was a fucking made-for-television pilot that didn't fucking get anywhere. Kenneth Lamar Noyd. I'm pretty sure you know who he is.
Avoid the Noid.
Yeah, this is the guy who thought that the Noyd ad campaign from Domino's Pizza.
I
back
was
in the
joking.
day-
This guy actually had a thing to do with that?
Yes, he ended up getting a gun. He had schizophrenia real bad. Very sick. He got a gun. He went to one of his local Domino's Pizzas.
Well, how did he get a gun?
America?
He
Ordered a Domino's Pizza and it came free with it.
as every American should.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you gotta self-medicate with a bullet. Who knows what's fucking going on?
Yep.
You don't need an ID. You just go to a gun show.
Yeah. Kenneth Lamar Noyd, he was having these, once again, ideas of reference. He thought that the Noyd advertising campaign was specifically targeted at him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if nothing else, it did his last name is Noyd. So
I will avoid the noise.
Avoid the Noid.
yeah, there is some, I mean, somewhat reasonable basis to his delusional thoughts.
Well,
But he took it very personal. He was like, they're making money off my name. And from those reasonable ground points, he built a whole
I feel
narrative.
like
in
it's
his
like
head.
if the wells run dry. I'm like, I'm not dry. I'm not dry. I'm not dry. I'm perfectly moist. I'm perfectly moist.
I was waiting for you to
I'm
say
perfectly
that.
moist.
Nice and supple.
I am supple.
So yeah, he ended up he got a gun and he went down to his local Domino's Pizza and he held all the employees there hostage. What's also weird about his story is that he was reading a Robert Anton Wilson book about the Illuminati. Or no, he wasn't reading it. He asked the police that showed up. He's like, I want a copy of this book. So there's
Well,
a
they're like,
weird-
yeah, let's just run down to the fucking bookstore for you, you fucking
Well, yeah,
idiot.
Pretty
Back
much.
when there was bookstores.
Yeah. The people inside the Domino's, they basically were able to just like, what kind of pizza do you like? We'll make you whatever you want.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, he sat down to eat his pizza.
Meat
and
lovers?
then I think it was an everything, basically.
Oh, supreme with the mushrooms and the olives.
Triple anchovies.
Yeah. I'd rather have anchovies
That's
than
how you
olives.
know he's a sick fuck. They basically got him, full and happy and fucking, and they used that opportunity to skip the fuck out of the store. And they were like, go get him, police. And I don't know, they shot him in the head. I don't remember what happened.
Oh,
No, he got put into an institution and
after getting shot in the head?
no.
He didn't actually get shot in the
No,
head.
he probably got the shit kicked out of him. But
Oh, yeah.
he died in the institution.
Good for him.
Then there's one more fella.
Before fucking Reagan.
Actually, that was during the Reagan administration.
Well, but he closed them down.
Before he even shut it all down.
I think he got moved into the.
Oh wait, the
institution.
Noids that was the 80s.
Yeah,
So that was
Yeah.
during the Reagan administration.
but that was in California where he shut everything down.
Now, but he shut everything down nationwide. I mean, there's no more funny farms,
I don't think
really.
it was nationwide.
I don't.
He did cut all,
The funding,
shut down.
Yeah, he cut the
mental
funding,
asylums
but-
everywhere and
because
cut
we had.
funding drastically.
I drive past.
But there were still
nationwide.
places open.
There are, but it's a.
What was that old shit hatch over there off fucking Samuel? The
It's
fucking.
just an MHMR clinic I've seen.
No, there was a nut farm right over there. It was beautiful, actually. The architecture was nice.
Tartarian.
A little bit Tartarian, yeah. It was right there off of fucking Samuel. It's the nut hatch. It's before you go to Terrell State. It's like the county
Green
version.
Oaks?
No,
That's not on Samuel.
No. It was the old. It's torn down now. It's gone.
We'll think on it and we'll come back to it. There's one last guy, Henry Darger. This is also early 1900s. This guy is a particularly fucking weird example of erotomania playing into hypergraphia. He took all these like newspapers and magazines and traced drawings of children, specifically little girls, and drew genitalia on them, male genitalia, and turned it into this whole book, this vast book, some of which was written in blood, his own blood. He called this story The Story of the Vivian Girls in what is known as the Realms of the Unreal, of the Glandeco-Angelinian war storm caused by the child slave rebellion. I don't really want to go into this dude's story too much because it's just... it's perverse and depraved and weird.
Gross.
But his name's Henry Darger, and his work is considered a magnum opus of outsider art of the mentally unsound.
Timberlawn.
Oh yeah, I remember that place.
Yeah.
Not that I was there. I just remember it existed.
Yeah. And finalize. I like that your last thing is there is Uncle Ted.
Yeah. Because I seriously think his work is a little dry. It's very technical, but I think we need to look
wrong.
Yeah, we need to look at some of the concepts in it.
He's not wrong.
This is one of my reoccurring ideas behind this show is that even if you're a fucking nutcase, sometimes you have an idea that should maybe be considered strongly or fucking looked at.
Well, is that why Timothy McVeigh's up there?
No, he's just... That's an example of fucking, I'm crazy. And we've known people like this. Obviously.
Oh, yeah, but he didn't throw in the I'm crazy till it was time to go to court.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
One of the things on reflectionism, as we mentioned earlier, and this sort of plays into the ultra-terrestrial stuff, I find it strange that if UFO phenomena and stuff like that, even if it's like a mass delusion, which probably not, that'd be a stretch.
That's the global mass delusion.
Yeah.
That's a lot. There's a lot of stuff there. I'm not big on the things and believing the things.
Yeah.
But
you will after you play that ritual by yourself. Yeah.
He's not going to do it.
No, I'm not.
He's scared.
He's just gonna
scared of feeling stupid as fuck. Yeah. All right, I'll tell you what. I will try that next time I have the actual house to myself.
Okay.
And I'll eat a fucking 4 grams of mushrooms before I do it. Just to
don't. You don't gotta do that.
No, let's see. Let's see. Let's see what my brain can handle.
Have the recorder on the whole time.
I think it can handle it.
Okay. You're opening the worm can, not me.
No, I really don't think anything will happen.
No,
I think I would just laugh myself into the grave.
Well, you have to also, I think, if I'm remembering the hide and seek for one ritual correctly, I think you have to keep salt water in your mouth the whole time.
Who came up with this ritual?
This is it started off as a creepypasta, but it's based on certain old Shinto religious rituals that have to do with capturing a spirit.
I tell you what, I will try it and I'll eat 2 grams of mushrooms, not 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna try it because that's the only time.
I really don't recommend that, but
no, I'm gonna try it. It's the only time.
The thing I think you don't cotton about rituals really is that the underlying idea is that by doing a certain thing, it's cause and effect.
Yeah.
And that if you do the thing and I did it wrong, you do it another way until it's like you do the rain dance until the rain comes. Yeah. The rain doesn't come, you adjust the ritual.
But rain's eventually going to come.
Yeah. But
so that's the thing.
Well, I mean, that's one end of it. But on the other end is that if you want to get into the bit of the wooey-woo side,
nope.
There's what's known as the butterfly effect. There are arguments in quantum mechanics and things that sort of back this up, that a ritual, especially if it's something that's been done throughout history, if it's got a lot of historical cachet to it and people have been doing it for centuries, however long, is that rituals are meant to how best to put it's basically to bring you outside the circle of time, in a sense, so that you are not only doing this ritual here and now, but there is no here and now, because if it's something that's existed forever and people have been doing it forever, you're sort of tapping into this same time frame throughout history. And this is just one aspect I'm talking about of ritual, use, but you're stepping outside of time and aligning yourself with people who have done this same thing throughout history in causing a specific effect. So that, I'm trying to think of a good example. Calling up a demon from the Goetia or whatever.
Why would I do that? I don't believe in that.
Then do it.
Okay.
if your house becomes haunted, or if you trigger some subconscious psychological effect in your brain.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, I know you're not gonna do it.
I'll do it. I just nothing's gonna happen.
I think there are subconscious cause and effect. It's like how people, and I'm not saying this will happen to you, but when people fuck with Ouija boards, it's like, how serious do you take your own brain?
I don't.
Yeah. It's how invested are you in the belief, and then.
But I'm not.
Yeah, but
that's the thing.
We can ask all of our listeners to put a hex on your ass.
But I don't believe in that.
But they do.
But they will feel it. I won't. They will feel it. I will not feel anything.
You heard the challenge, viewers.
Yeah.
Listen.
All right. The remote viewing. That's probably easier because I don't think we could trust you to go through with the whole thing.
Look, all right, you're
gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this stupid thing."
Yeah. But that's the thing. You have to believe in any of this stuff for any of it to make any kind of damage to your brain.
All of our listeners.
That's the thing. You have to actually believe in the thing.
I'm trying to think
for
of
it to have an effect.
Because I don't want anything bad to happen to you.
Nothing's ever gonna bad happen to me. I'm fucking impervious.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, I'm talking shit now, but still.
I don't want anything bad to happen to you.
Okay. Everybody out there in Radio Land, next time, let's say you're flicking your bean or rubbing one out, make a wish right when you pop that Chris, what's something within the realm of possibility? It obviously can't be like, oh, I found $100 in my pocket.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, that's retarded. It has to be within the realm of possibility, because within the occult and all these practices, there is a law of equal.
He wakes up with a mole on his ass. But who's gonna?
Let's say a scar on his ass. How about that? Not what it hurt.
I just felt something. Oh no, wait, that's
no, I've already got scars on my ass.
A pimple on your nose. We're going to give Chris a pimple on his nose. All right, everybody?
I'll be thinking about it tonight. Twice.
That's what I'm saying. It's also
it is my birthday.
All these people who say, oh, I'm going to conjure up a demon to get money. Fucking, that's outside of the realms of possibility.
That's how you end up in a fucking plane crash.
Yeah. Or, fucking, there's a law of equivalent exchange in the occult. That's why there's always, sacrifices, and that's why people...
Is there not the power in my own belief that nothing will happen?
Well, let's put those two at odds with each other. Yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
All right.
I do encourage this because...
Your left hand to their egg shin.
Yeah, because I believe not a goddamn thing will happen to me other than natural occurrences. And things of my own accord or others' accord, if a guy walks up to me and punches me in the face, that has nothing to do with it, because that's just some asshole punching me in the face.
That's not a pimple.
That's not a pimple.
We're trying to narrow it down into a narrow focus.
Okay.
So let's see. I give most of our listeners, I'd say, about 2 weeks.
All right.
Before most people have listened to everything
that
we put out.
Episode after next, we'll see what. Well, we're gonna do a fucking
a let's check.
Let's check and see what happens to me.
I'll be cranking one out every night, hoping you get a fucking pimple on your nose.
Spencer, I hope you jack off every night thinking about me.
They say sexuality is one of the biggest, chargers of willpower and energy. It's sex magic. So yeah, I have a couple just quick final thoughts I want to throw out that kind of touches on a lot of this. What science once said was impossible 100 years ago is now mundane to all of us. Mm-hmm. And as everything within existence continues to be qualified, quantified, and categorized, it loses mystery. And it seems as if that which is inexplicable, enigmatic, ephemeral, if you will, is perhaps starting to fight back a little bit harder, or maybe act out aggressively in its attempts to continuously reaffirm and reestablish itself as an inevitable actuality in our everyday lives, whether it be through mental illness symptoms or supernatural encounters. I mean, and I could be wrong on that, but I feel that there is there's something out there. And I used to think faith was a dirty word, but as I get older,
I'm open. I'm not.
Yes, I'm agnostic.
I used to be very violently atheist, but now I am kind of agnostic.
Today, the atheist stormfront attacked the agnostic stronghold.
I'm kind of agnostic. I believe that.
We just don't know, is what it is.
I have true knowledge in the sense of Socrates and knowing that I don't know shit. And that's the thing. I don't know shit.
The more you know, you don't know shit.
Everything
Paraphrasing
I
Socrates.
say is based off my own personal experience, which ain't everybody else's experience. But that's cool. You know what? Like, everybody has different experiences. Will I call you a fucking retard asshole? Yeah. Am I a retard asshole? Yeah. Who cares? Fuck it. Like, I don't care. It's just fun.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Fuck.
That's your whole philosophy.
Tattoo it on your forehead.
That's what's wrong with the old generation. I don't know why don't go down that road now.
You don't want to go down that road.
All right. What was the guy's name?
Fred Gwynn.
Yeah.
Herman Munster.
Precious human being.
So the idea of reflectionism, as it's put towards in what we've talked about, especially in the technical delusion, I think there's something like that being exercised within UFO and ultra-terrestrial phenomenon, because it seems to always be one step ahead of us technologically. Especially if you consider the mystery airships of the late 1800s, early 1900s. This was stuff that was right around the corner. So maybe this stuff also takes the guise of technology that we don't quite understand yet, or that we know
fucking AI
is coming around the corner. Yeah, that's a whole other fucking deep can of worms. But considering that there are crystals and neurochemicals and electrical activity within the brain, I also pretty much believe that it is a foregone conclusion that with specific use of chemicals, electronics, or electricity or electromagnetism or neuroelectric technology, the brain can be hacked. Most definitely.
I can make my weenie jump with my brain.
Me too.
Yeah.
I also have to, what's that word? Kegel my butthole.
Oh.
Where you
Why?
What does that prevent?
It doesn't prevent anything. It
He
just
just
makes
likes
your
to
wiener
do it.
jump.
Oh.
Yeah. It's all the same.
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah, see? And none's the wiser. But, so it's the weird twilight realm between technology and delusion, and I think that fucking gap is closing as we walk into the future. And that's my final thought.
All right.
I'm Jamie Springer.
I would just like to say that I love these two fuckers I'm in here with, and happy fucking birthday, Spencer.
Hey, you made it to 40.
Hey, thanks. Actually, 20 years ago, I thought I'd be glad if I was dead by this age. Now I want to live another 40.
I know for certain I wish I was dead.
You fucks. Well, anyway.
Yeah, this has been Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclasts. I'm your host, Mike Lucht, and with me as always,
Spencer Lowry, birthday boy.
Yeah, Chris Wells. Catch us on the things, kooksandcranks@gmail.com.
Thank you.
Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclast on all the things. Catch us there. I might actually post something sooner or later. We'll have a picture soon. We're gonna.
Oh yeah.
Just get on there.
Yeah.
If you get on there, we'll get on there. Say something. See something, say something,
Bring us your theories. I want to hear what other people think, too.
I would love to hear all the theories.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Tell me I'm an asshole. Tell Spencer you'd like to cuddle him and fucking make him feel good.
Slap and tickle.
Yeah.
No, let us know what you think. And we will read it on the air. I'm not bullshitting. I want to hear what other people think because it's a good sounding board for new ideas. So obviously, I'm all down for that. Especially, the more controversial the idea, within reason.
Yeah.
But something provocative outside the norm, outside the normal way of thinking about these things, outside the box, if you will. If you got it, let me know. We'll
Put
read
it in the
we
box.
We will credit it to you
If
specifically.
it's outside the box, put it in the box.
Whatever name you want to be called by.
What's in the box?
We'll be back next week, I believe. Oh, shit. Yeah, we're doing heavy science. We're going to try to do heavy science next week.
And then within probably 2 weeks after that, we're going my direction.
Are you going to be ready around that time afterwards, too? All right. And then Spencer's after that. We got some good shit around the corner, so fucking stay tuned. I'm very excited about all of it. I'm cutting glass over here. Tune in next week. This has been Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclast, and we will see you next time. Peace.
You got any gum?